Thanks for watching the tennis, and we welcome you to the Texas Motor Speedway. Pre-race festivities complete. Engines are started, cars all aligned, green flag awaits. So we now head up to the booth. Marty Reid, Andy Petrie, and we have a special newcomer for you, Dale Jarrett.
All right, thank you very much, Eric Casillas, and welcome again, everybody. And yes, we do want to welcome Dale Jarrett to our ESPN family. Of course, if you're not familiar with his early race history, well, Dale was one of the original members of the Busch Series family when it was first formed by NASCAR. He won 11 times in Busch Series competition, and obviously we would be remiss if we didn't tell you he was 15th fastest in the last practice session just a few moments ago for tomorrow's Nextel Cup racing. Welcome aboard.
Thanks, glad to be here, and the Busch Series means a lot to me. I enjoyed my time. It's what gave me the opportunity to be seen by a couple of owners out here that are paying attention to these guys out here today. Always great racing and was always a lot of fun.
Well, last week, if you were with us, of course, the Busch regulars had the track to themselves at Nashville. Not the case this week. 23 double-duty drivers. Big difference in the storyline.
Yeah, it is, Marty. It seemed like last week everybody was ready to give Carl Edwards a trophy before we even started the race. And he did bring the guitar home, but he's got 22 of his buddies from the Cup Garage over there with him on the track today, and I don't think it's going to be quite so easy for him.
Well, and obviously Carl's the favorite. I mean, he's won 2 in a row, but there's some other guys that you guys want to watch.
Yeah, Juan Montoya has taken a week off from the Busch Series, so we need to watch him as he makes his comeback. But Shane Huffman, I watched practice on Thursday. Both practice sessions, he was extremely fast. So I look for that Navy car to move up to the front.
DJ?
Yeah, I'm going to watch a couple of my buddies from the Cup Series that are teammates in the Cup Series. Jeff Burton, who's already won twice this year in the Busch Series, starting 9th, always runs well. And the other is Kevin Harvick, who's driving his car, starting 23rd. He'll be fun to watch coming from that position.
All right, we're going to step aside for just a few moments, but don't go away because the green flag drops when we return to Texas Motor Speedway, where a lot of tornadoes rumbled through here. Somehow they missed all of us. We send our best out to everybody that did suffer some damage and some injuries yesterday here in the Fort Worth area. The NASCAR Busch Series at Texas is presented by Star Motorcycles. We build it, you make it your own. And in part by Aaron's. With over 1,400 stores nationwide, everyone is a lucky dog at Aaron's. And freecreditreport.com. Stay on top of your credit score and credit report. So as we are back here at Texas Motor Speedway in the 4 pace laps, trying to get all these engines warmed up to temperature because it's 48 degrees outside and the wind chill's making it a lot colder than that. Across the top of your screen is our starting field. David Reagan with his first career Busch Series pole, and he'll be alongside in that front row, of course, with Carl Edwards. Our in-race reporter, couldn't find a better one this week. It's Mark Martin. Dale, let's see if we can talk to him.
Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett in the ESPN booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, Dale. Dale, I got you, buddy.
Hey, Mark, you've had a few weeks off here, and being an older guy here, just wondered what that was like, how you enjoyed it, and did you watch the races?
Yeah, Dale, I've had a blast the last 3 weeks. Done a little something different every weekend, and, you know, it's just really great. Spend quality time with my family and everything. I had a lot of fun with the fans last weekend in Batesville, and, you know, it was really good to be back with my racing family here this weekend. So, got a good car here with our Dish Network Ford, and looking forward to having a good run here today.
One quick question about the track, Mark. Over in 1 and 2, it's been talked about the bump over there. You noticed any difference?
Yeah, Dale, it's smoother. It helped the bottom of the racetrack a lot. And hopefully the groove will move up today, and we'll see if it's smoother up top. You know, it had a big dip up on the high side, too, but the track hadn't been in condition to run up there yet. But hopefully the groove will widen up there, and we'll find out. But they did a good job of working on that bump down here without having to repave it.
Good luck. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, buddy. Good talking to you.
Hey, Chad Norris, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, Chad, Thursday was the last time you guys were on the track, and it was hot and sunny then. It's really cold today and cloudy. How's that going to affect your setup?
I believe it's going to be pretty good here. I think Mark, you know, is a veteran, and he kind of probably knew this was coming a little bit, so he probably planned on getting the car the way he needed to have it here, so we'll be in good shape here.
Okay, Chad. You guys have a good race. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you've got the latest from our in-race reporters. Let's also get you caught up on the number of onboard cameras that we have for you. A total of 8 this weekend. There you already see Mark's shot. Across the top, it's Mike Wallace, Kurt Busch, Brad Coleman, David Gilliland, Jeff Burton, Juan Pablo Montoya, and David Rudiman. And of course, we should probably point out that some of these cars are going to be going to the back. Jason Leffler in the 38 is going to the rear. So is Kurt Busch. Engine problems for Leffler and adjustments after the impound for Kurt Busch. Also the 30, the 52, and the 10 cars. We'll report more on them. But first, let's get a quick update from pit lane. Mike Massaro, you're up.
Marty, surprisingly, Matt Kenseth says he's not as confident as he normally is. Why? The team's been struggling trying to find the balance on that race car, although there is a sense of optimism. Kenseth says with the changing weather, it was 70 degrees on Thursday during practice, 45 degrees now. He doesn't know what to expect. One thing's for sure, though, he has a car very capable of getting to victory lane. This is the machine he won with in California. Vince Welch.
Dave Blaney comes into this race second in the Busch Championship Series points. He believed he came here with a car that could win the race, but he had a crash in qualifying, went to the backup car and to the back of the field. Blaney still believes he can win, but he's going to need some good brakes to do it, but he should be one to watch coming from deep in the pack. Dave Burns.
Vince, 21-year-old David Reagan scored his first Busch Series pole here this weekend, outqualified the field by 2 miles an hour. That's unheard of. How did he do it? Well, crew chief Mike Kelly told me this morning his teammate Carl Edwards, who had gone out 29 cars earlier, came back to David and said, do this to your car, and it will stick, and you will get the pole. He did by a wide margin. Good luck today, David. Alan.
Casey Kane qualified 5th for this race. He and his team were disappointed with that. Casey told me he has a car he feels like can run up front and contend for the win today, which will be good medicine for him. His Nextel Cup team struggled with their car for tomorrow's race badly this morning. He hopes a good run today will set the tone for a successful weekend today and tomorrow.
So that's the latest from our 4 slightly chilled pit reporters again. 2 weeks in a row. It's been kind of cool. Good crowd on hand here at Texas Motor Speedway. Get ready as we are about to go green flag racing here at Texas Motor Speedway. We take you full throttle as we go green in Texas.
Good solid shift, bud. Coming to the green. All right, Kurt. Coming to the green. Pace cars off. Get ready.
Yeah, I'll call the green.
Ready.
Nice.
Ready.
Ready.
Ready. Green flag. Green flag.
Still out there. Out there.
Hello. Half. Get inside.
Still out there. Quarter.
You hear all the spotters as we come out of turn number 4. David Reagan, the pole sitter, with Carl Edwards right outside of him. Who's going to lead lap number 1? It will be Reagan getting the credit with Edwards and Kyle Busch in 3rd. Casey Mears 4th. Denny Hamlin in 5th.
Here comes Kyle Busch. He had a crash in that practice session in the Cup Series. It didn't seem to affect him much here. He's hard on the throttle.
Yeah, I don't think there's much that gets into his head. He just likes to go as fast as he possibly can. And when I was talking to Kyle yesterday, I was talking to him about the upper groove because I know he searches around to wherever he can go the fastest.
Yeah, he's not the only one. When you got Carl Edwards and Casey Kane in the field, you know they're going to try to move that groove up as soon as they can.
Well, one of the great things about Kyle, if you remember his race here last year, is he's looking underneath David Reagan, and he's looking like he's going to take the lead. And yes, he is going to get the nose of that low Chevy out in front. Can he make it stick? Yes, Reagan backs off. If you remember, though, last year, he gained the most positions. He started 33rd, marched his way to 4th, so he likes this Texas layout.
Yeah, I think it suits his style a lot, especially with the good, cool day like we have here. The racetrack has a lot of grip, and again, he likes to be in the throttle as much as possible, and he's got his car right on the bottom right now.
Dale, I know you've probably been watching these races from the motorhome and see how loose he runs that race car. I'm telling you, he runs that thing with the back end hanging out all the way around the racetrack, and these guys, to catch him, they got to make their car drive like that.
That's exactly right, and that's what it's about. As we see Casey Kane working the lower side here, and that's unusual for him. You expect to see him up, and I think he will move up as we go on. But these guys are a little hesitant right now, especially the guys that had practice this morning in the Cup cars. They saw that the bottom was the fastest way around, and that's where you had the most grip, and they're going to be a little hesitant to move up until we get a little bit more time on the track.
You saw there a glimpse of Casey Mears in the 24 getting ahead of Casey Kane in the 9 car. We should point out also that running in 3rd right now is Denny Hamlin in the 20 machine. So he has stepped up the program, and David Reagan, after starting on pole, has been bumped back to 4th, guys.
Well, he had such a, he ran such a fast lap in qualifying. He's almost 2 miles an hour faster than a second-place car. Down there in the garage talking to some of the guys, they were saying, to run that kind of speed, he had to be pretty tight qualifying to do that, and that's probably going to hurt him in the race.
Let's get an update on the 6 car of David Reagan. Dave Burns?
And Marty, he has not reported on that car yet, although crew chief Mike Kelly told me that indeed is how the car would start the race, just a little bit tight. But the crew chief also told this team something before the day started. He reminded them how stacked this field was with tough competitors. And they told him, I don't want anybody to expect to win today. We got to run 200 laps to be in a position to win before anything happens. Trying to keep him humble. And right now, David just trying to hang on to that car.
Yeah, Dave, and that's a good crew chief for you right there, just talking to his young driver, and so he doesn't try to get his expectations too high and go out there and wreck the car right off the bat.
Yeah, he's a really smart crew chief, too. He talked him into probably running wide open around here, told him his car was going to be great for qualifying. He went out there and did that, but now he's got him toned down to settling in and running a good, solid race here today and getting the experience that he needs.
Remember, we've got 200 laps of racing here. We're working on lap 7 of 200, and so far, one of the movers is back in 7th place, just a couple of cars behind David Reagan, and that is Matt Kenseth. He has picked up 3 positions.
Yeah, I found that kind of amusing to start with.
Trouble, we've got our first caution. You can hear the call from turn number 2 as the 21 car of Timothy Peters. The Providence, North Carolina native has got a lot of damage on the right side, guys.
Yeah, he's hit that wall pretty good. You can see by the damage on the right front. It looks like he's got a little bit of a problem developing, and then that 59 car gets into him just a little bit, gets out of the groove. We're talking about the groove being right on the bottom of the racetrack, and he gets up out of that, and it takes him right in the wall.
Yeah, it looked like he was struggling a little bit there. There's just not a lot of grip there in that second groove yet, and he was trying to make that work around another car, and then he got hit.
So there's the damage on the right side of Timothy Peters' cars. It's going to be a short day for Timothy as he's heading down pit lane and probably turning for the garage. Some of the faces, some of them you're very familiar with from Nextel Cup action, others from the Busch Series. They're all here racing at Texas.
On my way to Texas, 'cause the West Coast ain't no fun. Headed down that highway where the big boys all came from.
And back here in the Lone Star State of Texas, we're under our first caution after the contact with the wall with the number 21 of Timothy Peters. And we should tell you that the Aaron's Lucky Dog Pass is going to go to that man right there, Kevin LePage. They had to go to the back of the field, one of several cars. They did some adjustments after the impound Thursday in qualifying, so he gets back on the lead lap. And another car that we're noticing, guys, Kurt Busch in that number 12, he went to the rear because they made some adjustments, and he's on the move as well.
Yeah, we heard that he had some kind of suspension part that they changed. I think it was a lower control arm. I think they may have had a failure on their Cup car that maybe made them question their Busch car. I'm not really sure exactly why they changed that, but he started in the back and made some real progress coming up.
Yeah.
All right, let's get an update on the 12 car. Alan?
Hey, Andy, that's exactly what happened with Kurt Busch. I spoke with Matt Gimbel, the crew chief on that car this morning. In his Nextel Cup car in yesterday's practice session, they had a lower right control arm fail. And Kurt told me this just before the race. That's the 3rd time he hit the wall hard in turn number 2 at this racetrack. And he said it was a heavy impact. Now, he's okay, but for safety's sake, the team went back to the shop, had the fabricators there make some beefier lower right control arms, and they made that change this morning. They got NASCAR's permission to do it because it was in the interest of safety and not performance, and that forced Kurt to go to the back of the pack. He came in, they added some tape to the nose of this car and took some fuel on a pit stop under this yellow. Get a couple extra laps on fuel on some of the other guys. Maybe it'll get him some track position later.
Yeah, Alan, he's already up to 27th, so he's his car's actually performing pretty well so far.
Now, we had a little incident on pit road when we were in commercial break involving that man right there, Dave Blaney, and you could see that's not good.
That's unfortunate. Dave's sitting second in the points. Crashed in qualifying the other day. Had to start at the back of the pack. So things just aren't going his way here at Texas right now. But they've done a lot of work on that car. And hopefully they've got it repaired and he can get back.
So the pace car's into turn number 3, and he'll pull off this time as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. So that means it'll be time to put the hammer down again, and we'll let you go full throttle here at Texas Motor Speedway.
All right, dude, coming to the green here on you. Stay ready. Green flag, green flag, green flag. Coming up 3 right there. I just want to jump to 60. Inside. Got a follower inside. Got one more coming. 16 inside. Inside. Still there. Still barely down there to 33.
As they come to the stripe, you can see it's still the number 5 of Kyle Busch that is in front, but Denny Hamlin has moved up into second place ahead of Carl Edwards. It's David Reagan 4th, and Casey Mears rounding out the top 5. Casey Kane fell back to 9th in that exchange, guys.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin got a great start there. I don't know if Carl Edwards spun the tires a little bit, which is very easy to do. You've got your hot tires, you cool them down during the caution flag, and you've got a very cool day, so it's very easy as you're trying to get a lot of throttle and to keep up with Kyle Busch on his start. Denny Hamlin got a great start on the outside.
Yeah, the track's pretty fast. I'll tell you, these guys are running almost qualifying speeds because of the cool weather and everything. So, you know, you can actually visibly see the cars just look fast.
Yeah, they do look fast. And as I was talking to Kyle and Kurt Busch and Jeff Burton the other day, they were talking about how much the tires were falling off and the speeds were falling off. They were 7-8 tenths of a second in like 10, 12, 14 laps. And so we're not seeing that right now. And I think it's just a difference in probably 75-degree weather and if we have 50-degree weather here today.
Well, if you remember this race last year, Denny Hamlin started on pole, ended up finishing that race in 10th. I guess he feels he's got some unfinished business. Take a look at the battle for 4th right now. The 24 of Casey Mears going under David Reagan, so Reagan gets bumped back to 5th, and here comes Mark Martin.
Yeah, that's not a surprise that Mark Martin's going to be in the mix of this, but he is going to be right on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's not unusual for him. That's where he likes to run. That's where he sets his car up to go. But Casey Mears, he's run well here a number of times. I know he hasn't won here, but he likes this racetrack, and again, it suits his style a lot, and I think that Busch program is really coming along.
Yeah, we're looking at this telemetry. You see that throttle going green all the way around there. Yeah, you see just a little bit of brake, but I'll tell you one thing you see at this track is just a lot of throttle, man. You can just hammer on that thing.
A lot of throttle, and if we switched over and found somebody else right now, we'd see them probably using more brake because that's what Mark Martin does. That's why he doesn't abuse his tires. He doesn't use a lot of brake, and you know, he was so great in the IROC series over the years, and that's the way he drove those cars, and he does the same thing with his Busch car.
Yeah, I was talking to Chad Norris in the garage this morning, and we were talking about Mark Martin and how he likes to run the bottom, and then we got talking about fuel mileage. And he's getting great fuel mileage. I'm not going to tell you what it was because I told him I wouldn't tell anybody. But anyway, he gets great fuel mileage, and the reason is he keeps his foot off that brake pedal.
That's exactly right.
Guys, this could be fun to watch for a while. Kurt Busch is now up to 22nd place, and he is on the move.
Yeah, he really is. That car looks really good, and he's got a lot of throttle in it and not a lot of brake either. So definitely it's going to be fun to watch his progress throughout the day.
Make it 21st. He just dusted Jamie McMurray.
Looks like those guys fixed that car right. I know he said it was just for a safety move, but it looks like it's making that car run pretty fast.
Yeah, when I talked to Kurt, he seemed happy with his car. He just didn't get the speed in qualifying out of it. He said he wasn't very happy before qualifying, but he felt like they had made some adjustments and made the car a lot better, but they just didn't run the speed that they needed to be any better.
Guys, we've talked about Aero Loose an awful lot, both in the Busch Series and also in Nextel Cup action. Let's show you a perfect example. Watch the 4 and the 22 here.
Oh, yeah, wow. You see how that 4 car pulls right up on the bumper of David Strimby at 22 and gets him. What it does, it just takes that downforce away, loosens him up.
So as Reagan Smith picks up the spot, let's show you what Aero Loose is all about, Andy.
Yeah, this is a kind of an illustration of what we're talking about there. You see the red car running along fine, and this green car comes up behind him, and it takes that airstream and puts it over the top of the green car. And then you see what it does. It lifts the back wheels off the ground, kind of takes the weight off of it. The driver has to chase it, back off the gas, and then the green car's on his way.
Right now you're on board with David Gilliland in 23rd position as he is trying to maintain spot right now. That's Bobby Hamilton Jr. right behind him. And he's under attack from Shane Huffman, one of the guys that Andy wanted to keep an eye on. And so far, he's moving up. So we've got to head towards a break, but don't go away. We have got a lot more coming your way. Kyle Busch is out in front of Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards, Casey Mears, and Matt Kenseth here in the 8th race of the year in the NASCAR Busch Series at Texas Motor Speedway.
This ESPN telecast of the NASCAR Busch Series is available in high definition on ESPN2 HD, presented by Vizio. And the 17 having some trouble. What's the very latest? We head trackside to Mike Massaro.
Well, Eric, Matt Kenseth just radioed in thinking he may have a problem with his right front tire. They think it may be going down. The team right now up on the pit wall, ready to make a stop if Kenseth does come down pit road. For at the time being, though, public relations representatives from Roush Fenway Racing are saying they're not exactly sure if the tire is flat, but they're ready to pit the car if Kenseth comes down pit road.
Okay, so not only some potential problems for Matt Kenseth, a real problem for Dave Blaney. Second in the championship chase, right behind Carl Edwards, but only by a slim 321 points. He's 2 laps down, and he's going through a pass-through penalty through pit lane as we speak. During the commercial break, he stopped again. So now he's probably going to go 3 laps down as a result of this, guys. And that's going to be awfully hard. He's going to lose a lot more ground in the points.
Yeah, that's a killer right there in the deal when you have to come back down pit road after already having a problem and having to pit under green.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know it all too well a couple of times this year myself. But, yeah, it just seems like when you get days like that things just pile on top of each other. But Dave and them will come back from that. And, you know, you just do what you can do. You make the most of it, and that's all that you can do.
Alan, what's the latest from the 10 pit?
Flat tire on the 10 car. That's why he came down pit road, and then they got busted for speeding.
Well, the price was high for one flat, but Blaney will soldier on. We still have 170 laps to go here, so through attrition he could pick up a few spots. In fact, we already have 3 cars either off or out of the race. Kevin LePage, after getting the lucky dog, is out. Peters and Keselowski are classified as off.
Yeah, looking at Matt Kenseth's lap times now, it looks like his lap times are as good as anybody on the board. So I think they've kind of sorted that out and felt something funny, but he's fast again.
We're on board with David Rudiman here, and you notice he started 7th. He's backed up to 11th. Dave Burns, is there some problem with the Aaron's machine?
One of the reasons, Marty, is that he's a little bit distracted driving his race car. Can't turn the wheel quite like he wants to because somewhere below that window net, connected on the door bars, is a water bag that refreshes him during the race, but it's now in his way. Can't turn the wheel exactly how he wants, and that's difficult when he goes into these corners at 200 miles an hour. All right. When they come into the pits, by the way, what they're going to do, he hasn't been able to rip it down, so they're going to hand him some snippers and let him cut it off.
Take us through for some of the folks at home may not understand what they're talking about there, Dale.
Yeah, as we see David inside the car here along the left side, yeah, and we put them in different places, and it could just be the padding that's over there too. I'm not sure which one it is, but you've got your hands and you want to get them over as far as you can, obviously, and you're turning the steering wheel, and that prohibits you from doing that. And we're a quirky bunch of drivers, and we like to have everything perfect inside the car, and this was probably something that was just put in before the race. They didn't have this in during practice the other day, so he didn't know that he was going to have this problem. But it really makes it aggravating as a driver for things like this to happen.
Take a look right now out on the track. Of course, the 60 is Carl Edwards. That's 3rd. And here comes Casey Mears. And boy, Casey Mears, he needs a good run like he's got right now. He just took over 3rd.
Yeah, he's due for a good finish. He had a good run and a good finish in, I believe it was California, one of the early races. And, you know, he's fast everywhere we've been with this 24.
Yeah, this young man has just a tremendous amount of talent. And as he gets settled in over at Hendrick Motorsports, you're just going to see more and more from him and then from this race team. And, you know, the Chevrolets are really doing a good job here today, and I think that is something we used to see it in the Cup Series, and I think we probably will some tomorrow. When you untape these cars, the Chevrolets seem to outperform the Fords just a little bit, and the Dodges and the Toyotas. So it's something that they have and they've gotten worked out, and it's to their credit.
Vince Welch, are they happy campers down there in the 24 camp?
Actually, Casey Mears had been complaining that the car was tight, and he was making that complaint just before he made the pass on Carl Edwards. But the car certainly looks good in regards to that pass that he just made. But remember, this was a good track for Casey Mears last year. He ran 3rd here last April, and in this very car, he ran 5th at Atlanta. So this was a team with a lot of confidence coming into this race.
And he is pulling away from Carl Edwards, who is now in 4th.
You know, one thing I see him doing right now is he's exploring that upper groove a little bit. He's not running right down on the bottom of the racetrack, so his car's not handling like he wants it. So I think he's just trying some different places on the racetrack to see if it fits his car.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was going to ask you, as we're looking at the battle for 8th, you've been out there on the track, didn't get obviously to qualify yesterday because of the heavy storms that rolled through here. What were your observations of what the surface was like?
Yeah, it seems like everything is pretty good with the surface, and I think these guys are now getting to that point that they've got some laps on the tires. They're starting to move around. The bottom's not working for them. Their cars may be getting a little bit to that tight side, especially those guys that qualified right up front. They had their cars tight. That's how they were able to qualify up there. And so now they're starting to explore. Casey Kane is usually one of the first guys to get up there, and they're starting to make this work. You can see their lap times come back a little bit now. And one guy that told me that he had to start his car extremely loose was Jeff Burton. He said he had to really start it like that, and now we see him. He's moved up into the top 5. And so I think we'll see that continue as the day goes on, because it's only going to get tighter.
Yeah, we see that week in and week out, Dale, how these guys got to start their cars so loose. I mean, it's almost scary seeing them on new tires when they start their runs. They're so loose, but they have to be that way to keep them from pushing and keep the front wheels from sliding at the end of the run.
Exactly right, and we don't give them enough credit for how much talent they have, because that's not easy to do, running into these corners at close to 200 miles an hour.
That 30 that everybody blew by was Stanton Barrett. He is already lapped traffic, but this is the battle right here with the 06 of Mark Martin, then Casey Kane and Greg Biffle, and here comes Kane on the high side.
Yeah, a perfect example. You've got Mark Martin, who loves to run the bottom of the racetrack, Casey Kane, who likes to get in that middle and top, and we'll see as they exit the corner here and start down the straightaway. Casey's getting a really good run off the corner. Looks like he has more engine than what Mark Martin does, but it's just that momentum, and that's what this type of racetrack will allow you to do.
And looks like they have helped that bump a little bit in 1 and 2, because they weren't able to do this quite so early in the race, is move up like that, because that bump was upsetting the car so much over there.
Let's get more on the 9 car from Alan Beswick.
Marty, just a little progress report on the 9 car. He dropped back in the opening laps from 5th back to 8th because the front end of his car would not grip. He stabilized himself in that 8th spot, and now, as you've talked about, starting to hunt around for a different line on the racetrack, already talking about what adjustments they might need on their first pit stop, which should come in about another 15 laps or so.
Well, as they continue that 3-car battle, and you can see they're all pretty much in lockstep formation as they head into the corner. We're going to step aside here at Texas Motor Speedway. So far, Kyle Busch, he's led every Busch race that he has been in this year, but he hadn't been able to pay the dividends yet. Will he do it today? Stay with us and find out.
Welcome back to the NASCAR Busch Series at Texas, presented by Star Motorcycles. And down in the pit studio, I'm Eric Casillas with Brad Doherty. And Brad, in watching the race, you have some observations and a question for the guys in the booth.
Yeah, you would think as the cars go along that they would get looser and looser and start to lose grip. But you heard Andy and Dale both talk about starting the race cars out extremely loose because they tighten up as the race goes on. And I wanted to ask Andy, what causes that? Why would a car go from loose to tight during a race?
Well, Brad, what happens is these cars, when they're full of fuel, they've basically got like a 50-50 weight distribution. About half the weight's on the front, about half of it's on the back. When they burn all that fuel off, I mean, you're talking about 150, 60 pounds of fuel. It really shifts that balance and makes those front wheels weigh a lot more than the rear, so it overworks the front tires and makes the car push. In other words, makes those front tires slide a little bit.
Dale, and what does that feel like? I mean, are you just cruising along and all of a sudden the car's just so tight it feels like it's going to chase up to the wall, or do you gradually feel it coming on?
You know, a lot of times, Brad, it comes all of a sudden. You'll be tooling along there for, 20, 25 laps, and everything's great. You're able to keep the car on the bottom of the track, hammer the throttle off the corner. Everything's great. Next thing you know, you're having to start to work the throttle off the corner in particular. You've got a lot more wheel in the steering wheel and making the tire turn, so you're scrubbing off speed. And it's a bad feeling as a driver. And now we've got a pass for the lead here. Denny Hamlin goes by Kyle Busch.
He absolutely does. So we have a lead change here as we're working lap 49 of 200, and Denny Hamlin. And again, we're getting into a little bit longer run here. Pit stops are going to be coming up, and obviously I think Hamlin likes his car the longer the run.
I don't think there's any doubt, but you got to wonder, did Kyle Busch get out there and run a little too hard? And that's something that he'll learn as he goes through this day, if that is indeed the case. But Denny Hamlin, he's in these races all the time, just a great talent, and they've got a good organization that has good cars for them to drive, and he does a terrific job in knowing what his car will and won't do.
Yeah, and he didn't let Kyle Busch get too far out ahead of him either. He was hanging right back behind him, just waiting, kind of biding his time. And he said, "Okay, I think I'll go ahead and pass now."
Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming.
And it sounds like the 20 is going to be peeling off. And yes, he slows down, so Kyle Busch will regain the lead. And our first man to blink as far as needing fuel and tires was Denny Hamlin, our latest race leader at lap number 50.
I got to tell you, this is a little bit earlier than I thought they'd be pitting. Their fuel window is a little longer than this, so this is just a little bit early. Kind of surprised.
Dave, you're there.
And Andy, to remind his driver that he really did mean come into the pits, he used the term short pit. Come now, next lap. We'll find out if there was a reason for that from crew chief Dave Rogers. But they want to make an air pressure adjustment in the front tires. Air pressure less than they were on the first run to help Denny's car a little bit. Denny complaining just a little bit that he was tight behind other cars. That's why he didn't pass Kyle Busch for so long. And the leader is on and off pit road.
So some interesting strategy here early. We'll see if it pays some dividends. Kyle Busch obviously is the race leader. Here comes Casey Mears, and Vince Welch is there.
Well, Casey Mears, who had been complaining that the car was a bit tight, says that the car on the lap 51 of these tires was loose. So they're looking forward to the additional grip once they get these 4 sticker tires on. So far, a smooth stop for Mears as they add the fuel, obviously, and the tires on both sides, all 4 tires. And let's go to Alan Bestwick.
Casey Kane pits from 9th place. They made a 4-tire change, made adjustments to try and get the back end farther into the track, a feeling Casey was looking for. Also added some tape to the nose of the grill.
So Casey pulls back out, and you can see on the left side of your screen, all of a sudden, Matt Kenseth has pulled off the racetrack.
I knew something was breaking.
Oh, yeah, look at the tracking. And he's breathing a sigh of relief, guys, because that could have been some serious hurt.
I'll tell you who's not breathing a sigh of relief is these guys that just pitted. This caution is really going to hurt them.
I'm not sure. Just let loose getting into one.
So something breaks on the Arby's Ford for Matt Kenseth.
Heck of a job saving it, though.
Well, you could hear it in his voice. He says,
let's put tires on it and get back out there, and then we'll come in and look at what broke.
Yeah, I think he's going to find out he's got something seriously wrong. Let's take a look. Whoa, look at this thing go. How did he keep it off the wall?
I don't know, but he was saying something was broken. It didn't look like the tires had blown out yet. It looked like they did once he started spinning and locked the wheels up, the tires blew out. But I don't think the tires were down when that thing started sideways.
No, I don't think so either, and something did have to break because he had gotten back to the point that he was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, as we see it right here from Jeff Burton's in-car. That's just, I mean, it's a great job by Jeff Burton and just tremendous job by Matt Kenseth.
Take a look. Here is the 5-car, Kyle Busch, the race leader. He was getting ready to pit, and luckily for him, he did not. He stays out, so he will not suffer any penalty.
Well, there's a little strategy to this short pitting. We heard them talk about that. These guys stopped a little shorter than their fuel window, hopefully to get some advantage on tires, and hoping everybody else, the leader comes in, hoping everybody else will follow him. And they started to follow him, but then all of a sudden we have a caution that comes at the wrong time, and it caught him a lap down here, and it's going to hurt him a little bit.
And even though Kyle slowed and almost entered pit lane, he did not lose the lead. That's Jeff Burton you're riding on board with. He's shown in 2nd place. Greg Biffle in 3rd. Carl Edwards 4th. Mark Martin in 5th. So it's 2 Chevys followed by 3 Fords.
Yeah, the only problem I saw with this time, man, and not second guessing anyone, but in short pitting at this point in time, you had a number of cars that had pitted during that earlier caution, so they had a bigger fuel window. They were going to be out there another 9 or 10 laps, and so that puts you in a worse position for something to happen, whether it's debris or something just like this. So they put themselves kind of in a box right there and in a bad position. But they have fast race cars and make it interesting for us to talk about as they come back up through the pack.
Well, let's give you an idea. Here are the cars that were running up front that are now a lap down. Denny Hamlin in 30th position right now. Then you drop down Casey Mears in 33rd, Casey Kane in 36th, and of course Matt Kenseth. He's got all kinds of problems. He's shown in 37th, and he's going to go even further.
Yeah, and as we get back and get ready for the restart, these guys are actually going to be on the tail end of the lead lap because they're going to stay out there. And as Kyle Busch and Jeff Burton and these other guys pit, then they're going to have to line up behind those guys. So they're going to technically be on the lead lap, just on the tail end of it. So again, make for great racing on the restart.
So the pits are open, and we'll wait to see how many of the leaders are going to peel off and come on in. I'm sure that we'll probably see just about everybody. And Kyle Busch is leading the way, and Mike Massaro is stationed in his pit. Michael?
Well, Marty, on a scale of 1 to 10, Kyle Busch describes his car as a level 3 tight. We're going to make a chassis adjustment using the wedge wrench, 4 tires and fuel to try to rectify that problem. He's a little bit tight going into the center and off the corner. They want to make sure that he gets just a little bit more free so he can continue to battle for this win. Alan?
Kurt Busch started at the back because of that suspension change. He's blasted all the way back up to 10th place. They're going to make a slight adjustment to air pressure to try and help the front end grip on the car. Vince?
Carl Edwards complaining about a vibration on the right front, just as he did a week ago at Nashville, so they gave the right front a little extra look. They're also going to make a track bar adjustment. Let's go to Dave Burns.
Smooth stop for Jeff Burton, came in second. He'll lose a couple of positions. 4 tire change, chassis and air pressure adjustment. Jeff said the start of the run is what I don't like, just a little bit hard to turn the car. They hope to have corrected that.
And as we take a look at the race off pit road, oh my, Kurt Busch. Remember when he was in the very back of the field? He is now 6th. They picked up 4 spots on the pit stop alone. Another good one for Mark Martin. He picked up 3, as did Steve Wallace. And Reed Sorensen picked up 2. The biggest loser, Carl Edwards. He dropped 3. So as the crews give them each other a pat in the back for a good stop in the Penske camp, we'll show you one more look at what happened as we head to a break here at Texas Motor Speedway. Great job of keeping that off the wall.
March, it's the month of the year when Jeff Burton is almost unbeatable in a Busch car. Burton has cut the margin in half in a lap and a half. Jeff Burton takes the win, and Kyle Busch slams the wall. Burton will sail out of turn 4 and win his 2nd in a row.
Back at the Texas Motor Speedway, there's a look at the 29 car leading the race, trying to win his 3rd consecutive Busch race. Now let's get you up to date on what's happened so far with our NASCAR.com reset. Michael Waltrip's had a difficult year. He's the buzz of the garage. First it was Daytona, having trouble qualifying, and 1 week ago charged with reckless driving and failing to notify authorities after he rolled his car. Also, Nextel Cup back this weekend after a rare week off. Traditional car back on the track after a couple of races with the car of tomorrow. Now let's get back up to the booth with our guys.
And we are still under our 2nd caution of the day as we're working lap number 58 of 200. Mark Martin, our in-race reporter, is in 2nd place behind Kyle Busch. Let's see if we can talk to him, Dale.
Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, got me?
Yeah, Dale, go ahead.
All right, Mark, we see you in 2nd place. How do you like your car? And as you were racing with Casey Kane there and he was running that top groove, did you have any thoughts about moving up?
Yeah, I did, Dale, but my car pushes off the corner and in the middle off too much to run up there. We made some pretty big adjustments here, and we'll see if we can get it better. I'm still a bottom feeder. I'm going to get around the bottom better than the top, but if I get it freed up a little bit, it'll run, you know, top or bottom, it'll run better than that first run. So we made a big adjustment here. Hopefully it won't be too much.
Okay, so those adjustments you're hoping is going to allow you, Kyle Busch, does he look like the guy to beat right now?
You know, it's going to have to help a lot for us to get with him, but hopefully we'll be closer this run and maybe get closer the next time we pit, make some other adjustments and get good enough that we can contend for this thing. We were missing a pretty good little piece there that first run.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Good luck.
Hey, Chad, Andy Petrie up here. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Chad, what kind of changes did you make there? And I'm sure you've looked at your build-up on the tires. You checked those out. Is the car showing pretty tight?
Yeah, definitely. It's showing pretty tight to the right front here right now. So we're just trying to maximize our builds here for what we're doing. And went up a little bit on the track bar, just trying to get him freed up here and make this thing a little better for the 2nd run here.
10-4, Chad. Good luck.
Thanks.
So that we get the latest from Mark Martin, who's now running in second place. Who is the Aaron's lucky dog for this second caution? Well, it'll go to Ward Burton in the number 27 as he gets back on the lead lap, moves him into 25th position. We should also point out that the three guys that we were talking about earlier, Casey Mears, Casey Kane, and Denny Hamlin, they all stayed out, so they are at the tail end of the lead lap. Hamlin is 20th, Mears is 28th. I'm sorry, Hamlin is 26th, I should say. Then Mears is 28th, and Kane in 29th. So they're going to have some work cut out for them.
Yeah, this is those interesting restarts. It makes for great TV and great watching for the fans. As a driver, you're a little bit on edge because, especially the leader, you've got Kyle Busch and Mark Martin sitting there right up front of the race, but they're not starting in the very front. So they've got to race these guys and knowing that they're going to be running really hard to protect those spots.
30 cars on the lead lap as we have 140 laps to go in this 200-lap affair here at Texas Motor Speedway. Pace car has him in turn number 3. We're going to get ready as we're going to put the hammer down again as we take you full throttle here in race number 8 of the NASCAR Busch Series as the pace car turns down pit lane.
All right, but come in the green here. First two cars, both rows are down. Pace cars down. Ready here. Be ready. Ready. Almost ready. Green. All right, everything's cool. You're clear. Clear, 1 to the 29.
Nice and smooth right here, stacking up. Nice and smooth. Yeah, clear.
So as we come across the starting line, we've got Kyle Busch, Mark Martin, Greg Biffle. Jeff Burton's just gotten past Biffle, and so Biffle's 4th, Burton 3rd. Paul Menard is up in the number 5 spot.
Yeah, these guys trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap and have their hands full because Kyle Busch is just fast, and that's the problem that they're going to have. They're going to need a caution quickly for that to happen to be able to take advantage.
Yeah, one thing they got going for him, especially Denny Hamlin, he's got that clean air out front, and Kyle Busch is going to have to fight that traffic and that dirty air to get up there to him.
Yeah, he's the one car that showed that he could run with and pass Kyle Busch, but Kyle's just so fast through the center of the corner, gets back to the gas, and but Mark Martin's hanging right there in second place.
And as the 5 goes past Reagan Smith and number 4 car, let's get more on the 5 from Mike Massaro.
Well, Marty, the other thing that Kyle Busch has going for him, aside from being fast, he's very hungry. He's led 386 laps this year. That's 149 more than any other driver in the series. Yet, he's been shut out of victory lane. I spoke with Alan Gustafson, his crew chief on both the Cup and Busch Series side of things, and he said they began to question themselves as a team, wondering if they had what it took to win. They had a little bit of a psychological block until their Cup team won in Bristol. He said that's the best thing that could have happened to this team. They now know they can put things together to get to victory lane. Of course, Kyle Busch's Cup team is the same team that pits his car here in the Busch Series.
And as we go back out trackside, as you finish up, Mike, side-by-side action with Carl Edwards on the inside in the 60, the 12 of Kurt Busch.
Boy, Carl Edwards' car looks really good right along the bottom on the white line, coming up on off turn 2.
Edwards takes over 5th. Kurt drops back to the 6th spot.
You know, Carl's car was good the first part of that first run, and then it seemed to fall off. And I'm sure they've made some adjustments to make that better. And, of course, Kurt's had to, he's worked on his car a couple of times now, and but he's had to come from the back. And to get himself in 6th position at this point in time, they have to be really pleased. And what this will allow them to do now is just make some small adjustments to make their car better as they make the pit stops to get to the end of the race.
I tell you what, I was just looking at that onboard deal, and you can see that bump in the track. It's still there. I saw that 12 car hit it, and you could actually hear it bottom out a little bit.
Greg Biffle just got around Jeff Burton. That is for 3rd on the racetrack as you see those two continuing the motor on. Let's get more on the 16 car. Hold on, it sounds like we've got a crash. Yes, the 36 is turned around and has hit the wall on the outside. Brent Sherman.
He clipped you, buddy. There wasn't nothing you could do.
The 41 Reed Sorensen also involved. And 2 other cars, Shane Huffman.
John Wood.
I'm all right. I know he hit me.
John Wood in the 47's got a lot of damage. Huffman was running 11th. He was one of your guys to watch, and he was moving up.
Yeah, he was. He had a good run going. And here's Stephen Wallace. He's got a little damage, too.
Well, that's going to make Dad happy while he's having his vacation this week.
We're down next to a stall close to where we were, Steve. Or if you're on a record, I don't know what we got here.
All right, let's go back and take another look.
Yeah, it looks like Stephen Wallace just pushed up a little bit and got into the 36 car Brent Sherman, turned him around, and then you see all these other guys trying to scatter and try to avoid these guys, and they end up hitting each other and causing a lot of damage. There's definitely contact. And this happened after that wreck, after this all happened, and you see these guys get together. And oh my goodness, you see the 88, 47 car of John Wood.
Yeah, John Wood thought he was through the wreck, and all of a sudden here comes a car right in front of him that he can't avoid. It's very unfortunate. It looked like the 41 had gone. It got into the grass to try to miss the accident, and when you get in that grass, you just never know what's going to happen, and he came back across and took the 88 and then subsequently the 47 into him. So, yeah, it's just a chain reaction, and you know, racing hard off the corner after these restarts, you want to stay in the gas. But the way that this racetrack, the transitions into and out of the corners are the most difficult things, and that's what happened with Stephen Wallace probably there, is his car, the front end got a little bit light because the track really flattens out as you come out of the banking, and next thing you know, you've lost the front and you're into a car.
Well, there's Shane Huffman trying to come in, and there's John Wood, and not even Clorox is going to be able to clean up that mess. We're going to take a commercial break. Stay with us. We're on board with Juan Pablo Montoya. This is his view as he went sliding through the grass. Back here at Texas Motor Speedway, this is what brought out our third caution. Ouch, it hurt a lot of cars. John Wood was involved, Shane Huffman, Reed Sorensen, Steve Wallace, and Brent Sherman as well. Not involved, race leader Kyle Busch with Mark Martin right behind him. Greg Biffle rounds out the top three. We should point out that because both Denny Hamlin and Casey Mears were able to stay in front of the race leader, they're at the tail end of the lead lap, and Casey Kane is going to get the Aaron's lucky dog, so he'll be back on the lead lap as well. Vince, you've caught up with one of the people involved?
John Wood, and certainly the frustration spilling over not only with John but with the team. Can you just put this frustration into words, John?
The thing I'm frustrated most about is that I'm getting to blame for it, and I was behind the wreck, you know. That's inside joke.
It didn't seem to be a joke. Obviously, you were taking a lot of heat for that.
You know, the Clorox Fusion was great all day. We ran top 10. We had a mediocre pit stop, which put us back there in a vulnerable spot to be in an accident. And sure enough, it happened. And there was absolutely nowhere to go. There was cars everywhere, and just got hit.
As you were explaining your side of the story to your team, and didn't seem to be the answer they were looking for. Why?
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's not that at all. I guess I'm blaming myself for that one, if whatever that means.
Tough day for John Wood, guys.
Well, we're looking at some of the video of that conversation. Dale, I want to put you on the spot first. You've been in this position. Could he have done anything?
Didn't look like it from here. I mean, John Wood's an excellent young race driver, but he can be hard on himself at times. But you know, in this position, what we saw from there, no. I mean, you know, he thought he was through the wreck. He probably relaxed just a little bit, and then all of a sudden, here comes the 88 car out of nowhere, and he had nowhere to go. You can't stop these things on a dime.
Yeah, and you know what? I see just a little, it's frustration. These guys have had a good car. They wanted to get a good finish, and they're just frustrated things tore up. Probably placed blame maybe where it didn't belong.
Well, yeah, you see all the damage as we're still under our third yellow. We have 129 laps still to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. And out in front, it's Kyle Busch with us. Back here at the NASCAR Busch Series at Texas, presented by Star Motorcycles at Texas Motor Speedway. Glad that you're with us on a very chilly day here in the Lone Star State, and we are still under our third caution. As there you see Steve Wallace as they're working on the 66 car in the garage area. Let's check in with our in-race reporter, Dale.
Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, you got a copy?
Hey, Dale.
Hey, track changes so far. Anything that you've seen from the start of the race to this point?
Well, our car started off a little tight and got real tight on the first run. Starting off a whole lot better this run. So we made big changes. So I bet the track's staying pretty close to the same. We've got another adjustment or two to get where we need to be able to race Kyle here, but our car's a lot better.
Okay, we know this is potentially your last race with Roush Racing. Emotions going into today?
No, you know, I think I saw Jack right before I strapped in, and he said they'd tell me that, and I said, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. He figured the same thing, so, you know, you never know what might be out there in the future, so we're still good buddies, and these guys have given me a great car here. I want to thank Chad Norris and all his guys in the Dish Network for their support.
All right, you've had a lot of success together. Thanks, Mark, and good luck.
Thanks, man.
The winningest driver in Busch Series history right there. In fact, he wins at a 21% clip, 1 out of every 5 starts. He takes home the checker flag, and that is tough to beat. Let's shift gears a little bit. One guy who's not going to win today is Stephen Wallace. Vince Welch, you've caught up with him?
Well, as crew chief Brian Frazier told me before the race today, he's getting better every week. We've got to keep him on the track all day long to gain that experience. That's not going to happen today. Stephen, what happened in the incident? We'll take a look at the crash here.
Well, I was driving the car, so I know what happened. I think it was all my fault. If anybody's got a problem, they can come talk to me. I'm sorry for getting into the 36 car, but it's just one of them racing deals. I had Reed Sorensen. It was like they really raced me hard. I was running 8th. The 36 car was about 10 laps down, really slow. It wasn't his fault. It was my fault. You know, my dad provides me with the best equipment he can. John V and Homeland Communities, they give us money to fund this whole operation. It's just you get so frustrated because it's just keep doing it week in and week out. But like, we're fast. We got a pole this year. We've been flying around the racetrack. It's just then when it all clicks, we'll start winning races. But until then, we're just going to keep tearing stuff up and getting experience.
His team is working hard to get this car repaired. They want to get back out, but this is significant damage, guys.
Well, and let's give him a little credit where credit's due. 19 years old. I'm not sure I'd be able to stand up in front of the country and say, it's my fault. Anybody wants to come talk to me, bring it on.
Yeah, Marty, I was just thinking the same thing. You know, he stepped up, said, hey, it's my fault. It's nobody's fault but mine. And he's going to get better. He's young. He's going to learn how to do this week in and week out. He gets the experience, and he's going to be he is fast, and that's the thing.
That's right.
When you're fast, you can figure all this other stuff out, but the first thing you got to be is fast.
All right, guys, we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Let's set it for you. Top 5. Kyle Busch, Mark Martin, Greg Biffle, Jeff Burton, and then Carl Edwards, with Kurt Busch now in 6th, Paul Menard, Kevin Harvick, David Stremme, and Terry Labonte rounding out your top 10. Let's get you going as we go full throttle here at Texas.
All right, bud, be ready. Pace cars off. Stay ready. Be ready. Be ready. Ready. Be ready. Ready. Green flag. Green. Green flag. You got it, man. You're on there. 405 in between you guys. Got the 16. You're going to be trying to get out there. It's about a half that now. You're clear. Good start. Still 2 back to you. Take care of it now, man. By 5. Still 4. Looking inside, 17, looking inside. Inside with the 60 with him for a spot. Clear, all clear.
You heard all clear, and it is all clear for Kyle Busch. He has stepped up to over a half-second lead in 1 lap over Mark Martin. Greg Biffle is 3rd. Carl Edwards has gotten around Jeff Burton for 4th.
He actually just got a great start, Kyle Busch did, in the 5. He looked like he stepped on the throttle just a little bit ahead of Mark Martin. Sometimes these guys, these veterans like Mark, though, will leave that little gap in the front, and it allowed Kyle Busch to get a good start.
Yeah, and he also had the lap car of Regan Smith there and got in front of Mark. And he's probably losing a little bit of that arrow now, and Kyle Busch has nothing in front of him, perfect conditions, and he's setting the pace.
And that 4 car of Regan Smith is not going to give it to him because he needs to get this lap back, and he's sitting in the perfect spot to do it, sitting in the first guy 1 lap down, so he'll get the lucky dog if they get a caution.
Yeah, and he probably figures that he's got the guy that he substitutes for there right behind him, and they're kind of teammates, I guess. They're replacements for each other, so to speak. But he knows that Mark Martin is a good, clean racer, and he's in a good position if something should happen to get that lap back.
You think he's showing off for Mark?
I don't think he has to. He's showing off pretty good so far. I think he's shown that he has a lot of talent. And, yeah, but he may be saying, hey, I'm worthy of taking that 01 car on Sundays.
A lot of tight action going on throughout the field. And a couple of guys I want to try and zero in on, guys. We are noticing Kevin Harvick in 8th, David Stremme in 9th, and Bobby Labonte in 10th. Take a look at this. Now think about this. Harvick started 23rd. There he is, up into the number 8 spot. Right behind him is Stremme in 9th. He started 22nd, and Labonte started 33rd, and he's up to 10th.
Yeah, these guys are marching pretty good, and I keep seeing Paul Menard's car show up in that picture every now and then. He's up there too. These guys are having a really good race for themselves, and Paul Menard used to be one of my drivers in the Busch Series, and he doesn't run the full series now, but he does run from time to time, and he loves these fast racetracks.
Yeah, I don't think it's very surprising you see Harvick. We talked earlier in the show that he was going to be fun to watch, but I think he's just taking his time, working on his car, getting through the traffic, and of course Bobby Labonte out of the same stables there, so not surprising with him. Very methodical driver, is going to get the most out of his car, and we're going to see him get closer to the front.
You see Kurt Busch, he is our biggest mover so far from 36th. He's now running in 6th spot as you're on board with him in the Penske Dodge. We're working lap 81 of 200. Here at Texas Motor Speedway, Kyle Busch continues to run out front. He has led 77 of the laps so far.
Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. Almost halfway through. Let's look at the race highlights in our Holiday Inn race rundown. First up, Dave Blaney tangled up on pit road with the 0 car driven by Eric McClure. Blaney was part of the Toyota team looking to carry last week's momentum forward. Next up, you saw Kyle Busch take the lead from David Reagan in the Busch Series. Kyle has led the most laps and in the most races, but no wins yet. We'll see if it translates to victory today. Also, Matt Kenseth, car troubles in turn 2. The good news, the 17 was able to avoid the wall. And finally, on lap 67 of this 200-lap race, one big wreck led to a second. Here's a couple of different angles. Afterwards, Steve Wallace said it was his fault, offered an apology. That's your race rundown. Now let's get you up to speed. We head down. Here's Mike Massaro.
Well, Eric, your race leader is Kyle Busch, and it appears that he's preparing himself for a potential late race battle. Just moments ago, he came over his radio and asked his spotter for an update on the 20 car of Denny Hamlin, who's currently running in the 8th position. He wants to know where he's running and what his times are. Meanwhile, the most immediate threat for Kyle Busch is the 06 of Mark Martin, who has to be absolutely happy with his race car. During practice, he described it as pitiful. Very strong language, an ill-handling race car, saying it was darty. The car is coming to him. He said, though, his main concern coming into this race was how the car would be on long runs. Vince?
Running third is your series leader, Carl Edwards. Pierre Cattell, his crew chief, told me earlier today, Carl is a perfectionist. He wants to lead every lap. He wants to win every race. He wants to be on the pole. He wants to be fastest in practice. Well, he hasn't been the fastest so far here today, and Cattell has been letting Edwards know about it with the constant reminders of his lap speeds. But they're being patient, and Edwards is fairly happy with the car. He says if we can free it up at our next stop, we'll be faster. They have been having a radio issue, however. It's very difficult to understand Carl Edwards on the radio. Running fourth is the 16 car of Greg Biffle. They've made one adjustment all day, and that was a tire pressure adjustment in the left rear. Otherwise, the car has been perfect. He loves his car right now. Dave Burns?
Jeff Burton trying to make it 3 in a row since he's been in the Busch Series recently, running 5th, but he says, guys, we need to make some major changes on this car if we're going to win today. In traffic, my car just will not turn. We need to do something about it. They'll have another pit stop to do it. Alan?
1 year ago in this race, Kurt Busch made his debut in the NASCAR Busch Series. He won. Pretty good way to start. In fact, Kurt has been in 8 NASCAR Busch Series races. He's led every single one of them. He's won 2 out of those 8. He started last today. He's running 6th. He needs some chassis adjustments, though, to run with those 5 in front of him, Dave.
Right behind him is Denny Hamlin running in 7th position. He only restarted a few laps ago in 18th. Denny is on a charge. That car handling it incredibly well. Earlier, they had very poor fuel mileage, according to crew chief Dave Rogers. That's why they pitted out of sequence, went a lap down, got their lap back, and now Denny charging to the front. Kevin Harvick having a good run as well. He said to his crew during the last run, way too tight, because he had trouble turning that car. They made an air pressure adjustment, and the 33 of Harvick running well as well at this point. Right behind Kevin Harvick, the 15 of Paul Menard. He restarted in the 7th position, got dropped back a little bit. That's because those guys were running so quick. The 20 was one of those cars that passed him. But he's having a good day, very solid underneath him, just a little bit loose right now. Wants to spin out just a little bit. David Stremme having a good run as well. That car has been just a little tough to turn today. They've made some adjustments on it, and Stremme is having another good run. It's a good Busch Series season for David Stremme.
All right, thanks, guys. It's a Chevy up front with Kyle Busch. Mark Martin in the Ford is second. We've got 10 cars out or off the racetrack right now. 24 cars still on the lead lap. The highest Busch regular, that's Jason Leffler. He's also the highest running Toyota in 13th. So you've got caught up to date. You're up to speed after 95 at 200 laps. Stay with us. We still have a lot more to go here in the Lone Star State.
Led the most laps this season.
He doesn't have a trophy to show for it yet. I just don't know what to do to try to win one of these races.
Burton takes the win, and Kyle Busch slams the wall.
Couldn't hold the bottom, couldn't hold the top.
How does Kyle communicate without the radio?
Missing lug nut on the flag car. What a terrible time to make a mistake, huh?
Oh, here goes Busch.
And twice that got stuck today because of lap cars.
It has been a challenging year for Kyle Busch. His brother Kurt won this race last year in the Busch Series. Right now he is out in front again. As we've pointed out, he's led every Busch Series race that he's been in this year. And you can see that he's led 98 today and 386 for the season, but still doesn't have a win here in 2007. While he continues to motor around, Denny Hamlin is moving ever closer. He's now into 7th spot. And we found out now from Vince Welch, he has caught up with Brent Sherman, who was also involved in that wreck that brought out our 3rd caution. Let's get an update.
That's right, and the team is working furiously to try to get this Big Lot Chevrolet back out on track, but Brent Sherman certainly a disappointing end to your day. Stephen Wallace, I don't know if you heard, but he said it was his fault and he takes the blame. Did you have any place to go at all? It didn't look as though you did.
No, you know, I'm in a tough situation. I was a lap down. The first run, the car was a little tight, so unfortunately we went a lap down, but the car was really, really fast. You know, I was just running on the outside. I was giving those guys plenty of room because I know that, you know, hopefully if I'm in that position, I get room. But, you know, I had no warning and just basically blatantly got taken out. And it's happened 2-3 times this year, and it's just unfortunate because we're trying to, you know, gain as many points every week in and week out. And the Big Lots team works hard, and we're a small team, so this really hurts us. And the car was a really good car, and we were pretty fast. We were pretty much keeping up with all the lead lap cars. But when somebody gets into you, it's just hard to save it.
Brent Sherman, not any options on that incident, guys.
Yeah, and it's kind of a double whammy for a small team. He doesn't get a good finish today when he gets knocked out, but he also loses the race car, and that puts the team behind going forward. So I can understand why he's so frustrated.
All right, let's catch up on what action we're seeing out on the track right now, because Mark Martin is 2nd. Carl Edwards is closing in 3rd. We were getting into this length of the run again, where some of these cars had a tendency to back up the first time we had a long run.
Yeah, we've been seeing the groove move around too, and so we see them all around on the bottom on good tires, but as soon as they get some laps on them, they start spreading out, and the racing gets pretty good. Some of the cars are starting to fade back, some of them are moving up.
And that's Kurt Busch moving up and ahead of Jeff Burton for 5th place.
Yeah, Kurt, once again, it looks like his car is coming in a little bit better in this run and able to make up some ground going by Jeff Burton there. The one guy that we see not slowing down, though, is Kyle Busch. I mean, he is setting a pace continuously. As we watch the times, he's a good tenth of a second faster on most laps, almost every lap. And so they really have that car dialed in. But it has been interesting to watch some of these guys go to the top side. Matt Kenseth moved up a little bit and got himself in a position right now for the lucky dog if something should happen. And he did that on the top side. We see Carl Edwards has moved up a little bit to the top side, and that's gotten him into second place. So they're really searching around right now.
Another interesting thing, though, the 5 car lost the lead to Denny Hamlin. It was late in a run. So I don't know if Kyle's car goes away at the end of these long runs. And if so, it should start happening somewhere around about now. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Well, you can see the 5 is approaching the 9 of Kasey Kahne. Kahne in jeopardy of going a lap down, and he is going to go a lap down. So now that means we have 22 cars on the lead lap, and Kasey, who had fought his way back after getting caught out on that caution, is now finding himself again a lap behind.
Yeah, that's real surprising to see Kasey Kahne go a lap down at a track like Texas.
Yeah, it just shows you just how much, I mean, and not to take anything away from any driver out here because they're all tremendous talents, but you know, you've got to have that car. It doesn't make any difference if you don't have that car right. You know, you can be the best out here, and it makes you look foolish at times, and it's not really that. You know, Kasey's out there doing all he can do, but the car's just not there for him today.
Well, Kasey's got 5 Busch Series wins, but the last was coming at California last September. Let's get an update on what's going on with the number 5 car of Kyle Busch. Mike Massaro.
Well, it appears that Kyle Busch is putting together a bit of a mental notebook for a potential challenge later in the race. The guy he sees as perhaps his number 1 threat, the 20 car of Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, we got good mobility, Jeff. No, this is the 20. Does he have good maneuverability through traffic? I mean, he was just, the 33, some of these guys are just letting him go.
And you guys were talking about how Kyle Busch was good for a long period of his run, but toward the end, things would start to go away. That's exactly what he said over the radio just moments ago. He said the car's very free for about 3/4 of a run, and then it starts to get tight.
And that's David Gilliland going a lap down to the hands of Kyle Busch, and here comes Kurt Busch as he's got Denny Hamlin all over him. Just remember, for more information, go to ESPN.com. Your keyword, communications. And right now, the man who's communicating is Mr. Hamlin in the 20s saying, fellas, I'm going to the front.
Yeah, I was just watching the lap times while we were listening to Mike's report there, and we hear the radio conversation, and that 20 car is beating the 5 car right now. So it's starting to happen again in this run.
Dave Burns, what's going on in the pits of the 20 car?
Well, the main thing to remember about the 20 car is that he is very good on fuel. He pitted during that last caution period, so some guys may be stretching it to make it a one-stop race from here. The 20 car will definitely be able to make it a one-stop race, especially if we go green. So running well, and this is the car that ran well at California until they let it get out from under him to the loose side. So they've learned how to adjust on this car, and today they've got it dialed in right for Denny.
Remember, he was a lap down at one point because he got hung out on that last caution. He has fought his way back to 5th. He is only 6.5 seconds behind the race leader, Kyle Busch. And as you can see from brother Kurt's onboard camera, he's checking out on him and saying bye-bye. Stay with us. We've got 86 laps to go. Does Kyle Busch get the win, or does Hamlin come from 5th to take it away? And we're just seeing some early pit stops here at Texas Motor Speedway. Our leader, Kyle Busch, is in and out, and here is Kurt Busch. Let's go to Alan.
Pitting from 6th position, air pressure adjustments in all 4 tires and a track bar adjustment. Kurt feeling like he had burned up his right rear tire early in that last run. The crew trying to get the rest of the work done and get him out as quickly as possible.
He is back underway. Denny Hamlin has taken over the lead. Mark Martin is now shown in 2nd, as we're seeing the 60 car of Carl Edwards peeling off and heading down pit lane now, and he's heading Vince Welch's way.
Well, and remember, Carl Edwards had been complaining about the car being tight, and they were also having a radio issue that they said they were going to try to fix during this stop. They're making a chassis adjustment as well. Carl Edwards running up toward the top, but he's not been pleased with his race car. Says it needs to be faster if he's going to challenge Kyle Busch.
So he's back underway, and Denny Hamlin is your race leader. Jeff Burton has gotten around, taking over 2nd, and the 06 is in. Mark Martin's in. Mike?
And Mark Martin came over his radio not too long ago saying that he wants to make sure his voice is heard. Does not want the adjustments to be, quote, a science project, and they need to give him what the driver wants. 4 tires and an air pressure adjustment for Mark. Alan?
Looking at Bobby Labonte's pit stop, he started 33rd. He's worked his way all the way up just outside the top 10, 11th before the pit stops. His crew chief, Wally Rogers, only making 1 small air pressure adjustment this entire race. Labonte trying to get a top 10 finish from well back in the starting grid.
And meanwhile, Denny Hamlin continues to stay out and just racking up the laps. 29 of Jeff Burton is in, Dave.
These are the adjustments they need to make to help Jeff. They're all chassis related. Track bar, the wrench going in right now. That will help the car turn in traffic. Wedge also, that adjustment being done as well. And we got a crash in the track, Marty.
Yes, we do. We have the number 4.
You all right, Regan?
Regan Smith is into the wall.
Fine. We just got wrecked, Doug.
And you heard him say, we just got wrecked. So that will be our 4th caution.
Bad.
And again, a number of guys are getting caught out because of the caution.
Yeah, these caution flags are coming at inopportune times for some of these leaders. This time it worked in favor of Denny Hamlin. He's the leader right now, so we see here he gets a little tap from the 12 car. Regan Smith in the 4.
Let's go on board with Kurt Busch in the 12 car.
Like Regan may have had to throttle back a little bit to keep from getting into the 28 car off of turn 2 there, and Kirk obviously didn't see that. And you know, it doesn't take much with these cars, especially as you're coming off the corner. You got some wheel in it, and it's unfortunate. Regan was doing a terrific job today.
Yeah, they just come off pit road together. They pitted together, the 12 and the 4, and they were racing each other pretty hard. That's too bad for Regan.
The lucky dog pass from Aarons is going to go to the 17 of Matt Kenseth, as he was a lap down, and he'll get the free ride to come all the way around, get back on the tail end of the lead lap, and that'll mean we'll have a total of 10 cars now on the lead lap, because remember, a lot of cars had pitted, so we've got a lot of guys who are going to have to try and work their way back. We still have 75 laps to go.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth's got a really fast race car. He had run down Kyle Busch from a pretty far distance, but then he couldn't quite get, he just lost a little momentum. Tires got a little wear on him, and he couldn't quite get by him, but he's going to be a car to deal with.
Well, remember, Denny Hamlin was a lap down on lap 61. Here we are at lap 125, and he's coming into the pits as the race leader, and he's heading towards Dave Burns.
And guys, Hamlin will come in now. His major complaint on the car, which is a minor complaint, just a little bit tight in the center of the corner. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, air out of the air out of the front tires, and that will be it for Denny. When the caution came out and he was leading and others were caught on pit road, he said, it's about time. Feeling he's had some bad luck earlier this year. Now fate seems to be shining on him as the crew goes to the left side, finishing this stop and trying to get him back out so he can race through the field. Vince.
Casey Mears in the 24 car. He has been much faster in the clean air today, but has experienced a little bit of tightness when he has gotten up close, or looseness, I should say, when he's gotten up close to other competitors. So the Casey Mears car had been running up toward the top earlier in the day. They made some air pressure adjustments and sent him back out.
So Casey Mears comes back out, and we're going to take a moment to step aside as you ride on board with Mark Martin here at Texas Motor Speedway and see what happens to Regan Smith. This ESPN telecast of the NASCAR Busch Series is available in high definition on ESPN2 HD, presented by Vizio. All right, we've got some interesting action building here at Texas Motor Speedway as we're about to go back to green flag racing. 7 cars that got caught out by that yellow, they stayed out. So they're actually in front of our race leader, Denny Hamlin. He's going to be about the 8th car in line. He's got to chase down and get around Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Edwards, Kurt Busch, Mark Martin, Harvick, Leffler, and Jeff Burton. And there he is. This is going to be tough.
It's going to be fun. Should be interesting to watch.
So as the pace car pulls into turn number 3, the lap cars are on the inside as always. So
here. All right, here we go.
It's Kyle Busch in front, but remember, he's technically in 11th place. As we get ready, we'll take you back full throttle as we head into turn 4.
Right, protect right. You got the 42 behind you. Remember what he did last before he started? Dumped to the outside. All right. Tried to make it 3 wide.
Cars off.
Cars off.
Smooth on this restart. Be ready? Ready, green. Come on.
Corner clear on out. 42 coming outside. Outside, clear behind 42. Outside. Outside, still there.
You're on board with David Rudiman. As you can see, he is shown in 4th place, but there's an awful lot of traffic up in front of him as we've got all those cars, 7 of them, at the tail end of the lead lap. It's getting a little dicey.
We got racing all over this racetrack right now.
And nobody's told Juan Pablo Montoya that you can't go around the outside of this racetrack on cold tires, because he's done it every restart and he's making it all work.
And right now, Juan Pablo in 4th place.
Got that slow guy still down there.
I saw Juan Pablo Montoya running in a groove I didn't think was there a while ago.
Car's pretty slow.
That's Casey Kane they're talking about in the 9 car, and Juan takes care of him. Well, I thought he was taking care of him.
Yeah, you don't hear that phrase very often either, that the 9 car is slow, so that doesn't happen very often.
69 laps to go here at Texas. There is the race leader, Denny Hamlin. 2nd place, Casey Mears in the 24 right behind him. Then it's David Reagan and Juan Pablo Montoya in the top 4. Greg Biffle has dropped out of this race. Vince, you caught up with him?
Well, Greg Biffle was definitely on the move. He had a car that he was in love with, but then the engine went. What happened with the motor?
Well, I don't know. I was down there in 1 and 2, and the thing just, I thought I had a flat tire for a second. The thing started to spin out and came off the corner. I could feel it vibrating really bad, but my hat's off to the engine department. That thing had a lot of horsepower, and that's all we can ask for is good engines and make a lot of horsepower. I feel bad for 3M and everybody. We had all the 3M guys here this weekend. We got 3M on the Cup car tomorrow, running very well. So really excited about possibly still getting a win here in Texas.
Well, he's got a win here in Cup. He's got a win in the trucks, but he hasn't gotten one yet here in the Busch Series. 3 runner-up finishes for Greg Biffle.
Yeah, and doesn't it seem like it's always the good motors that blow up? Never the bad ones. It's always the good ones.
That sounds like the crew chief talking. You want to retaliate there, driver?
Hey, and that's what we'll say too. You're out there struggling on some days and things aren't exactly right. They'll run all day long, but when you're running up front like Greg was, that's when things seem to happen. We were watching our leader Denny Hamlin here. He's being very patient, and I think that he is that a lot of times and most times. But when you have a good race car that there's probably only one car out there that's better than your car, you don't really have to worry about putting those guys a lap down. He's pretty sure their cars are going to fade, and if the green stays out, then he'll probably pass them eventually. But it's really not of any concern. He can't get up to Kyle Busch right now, who's way out there, so he's just biding his time, taking care of his equipment, and being very smart with a good race car.
Yeah, he is sitting in the catbird seat for sure. And that's one guy, Denny Hamlin, that's always been very patient. Even when he was just a rookie, he's a rookie. He seemed like a veteran. He's always been very patient, methodical.
Right now, we're on board with Jeff Burton with Kevin Harvick right behind him. Harvick now shown a lap down again. So we have 15 cars, with Jeff being the last car on the lead lap here at Texas Motor Speedway. 65 laps to go. And there is the number 20 of Denny Hamlin as he is running up front. It's then Casey Mears in 2nd, and the 3rd place car is the number 6 of David Reagan. Now remember, David had his first career pole today. In fact, before the race, we talked to him about how nervous he might be about it.
That's a good start position. I can't screw up on the first lap. Everybody will be looking at me, but yeah, it's fun to be fast, but at the same time, we know we have a lot of hard work ahead of us on race day.
Well, he hasn't screwed up the first lap or any of the others since, as he's running a very strong 3rd. But one thing that's not in his favor, no prior winner here at Texas in the Busch Series has ever come from pole.
Yeah, but that's all just luck. These guys don't pay attention to that. If you got a fast car and you put it on the pole, you got to figure you got a winner there.
Dave Burns, you got more on the 6 car?
And he has been a winner here at the track before. When he was a youngin', he ran a Bandolero here in the national championship and won, but that hasn't helped him today. His main concern has been coming off the corners where he's going right now. He hasn't been able to get on the gas as much as he wants to. The car pushes toward the wall. He has to wait on that throttle. They've been chipping away at it. It was a little better the last run, but it doesn't seem to be a front runner for David today.
You know what's funny is about the only time you ever look at those stats is when they're in your favor.
Yeah,
Whenever,
right.
You know, if it said that the pole winners, guys that won races starting from the pole here, he'd say, hey, that's great, But if it's not in your favor, to heck with that stat. Well, let's look up something else.
I'll tell you something else about David Reagan. When Jack Roush said that he was going to put him into that 6 car, it really surprised me that he made that decision. But now he's out here proving Jack Roush it was right. He's proven to me and everybody else that Jack Roush made a good decision.
Guys, look out right now. Casey Mears has just taken over the race lead from number 20, Denny Hamlin. What is going on with the 20 car? I mean, he was a rocket ship, Dave.
Well, has not complained about the race car. I was going to bring up and remind everyone, I may have spoken earlier about going to the end of this race. They're the guys that have had the horrible fuel mileage today. Just spoke with Dave Rogers, the crew chief on the 20, and he told me they're at least 15 laps short from the end of this race. So they will have to pit again to put fuel in that car.
Well, right now, Casey Mears is the man in front, and it's not something he's been able to talk about this year in his 4 prior races in the Busch Series. This is the first time here in 07 that Casey is out in front. He is the 9th different lead change that we've had here at Texas. Can he be the one to take the win?
This week has been very hectic here in Texas. Tuesday was Brad Coleman Day.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I'm not sure there have been many 19-year-olds that have had a day named for them.
Got to meet Governor Rick Perry and get the flag that waved over the Capitol, and it was really cool. That night, I went to the Round Rock Express the game, and I threw out the first pitch, which is more nerve-wracking than any race I've ever been in.
He's a lefty. All right, thank you, Brad.
I got it over the plate. It almost hit the ground, but he caught it before, so.
Well, you got to go on board with Brad Coleman on Brad Coleman Day. We welcome you back to the NASCAR Busch Series at Texas. Now let's get you up to date on what happened so far with our NASCAR.com reset. Dale Jr.'s race team, JR Motorsports, signed Supercross star Jeremy McGrath, a 7-time champion, pairing 2 of the most popular drivers in their venue. Now we go out to our cutaway car and get more. Here's our crew chief, Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Eric. Every time you hear one of these guys talk about wedge, what you're talking about is unloading these wheels. It's weight. They're taking weight off of this wheel, and that's going to enable the car to turn and run off the middle of the corner and be freer. The same token, Mark Martin, he wants a lot of changes done. He's going to come in here, put some tape on the grill right here. That's going to give you downforce, lower drag number, make the car run faster through the middle of the corner, and it's showtime. They're here to finish the race. They're here to win the race. We want that car to turn in the middle of the corner, run off the corner free. That speed, DJ and Andy, they know exactly what we're talking about there. Back up to you guys.
All right, thanks, Tim. For more on this, log on to ESPN.com. Your search word is Auto Tech, and he's talking about how the race is unfolding. And right now, Casey Mears is trying to open up a bit of a lead by 0.6 of a second over second place Denny Hamlin.
I don't think Denny's too worried about it right now because his car's been so good in the long runs that he's not worried about Casey Mears getting too far out on him. I think he's pretty confident he's got a good car, although this is the first time we've seen that 24 car really get up there and mix it up with these guys. So, it's kind of a new player showed up.
Yeah, it has. And it's a great time to get all your adjustments done right here at the end of the race. Casey has worked on his car, and he's gotten it to the point that he can be out front leading this. And, we haven't talked a lot about him. We said that he knows how to go fast, and he's done well here in the past, but he's looking to add a win to his record.
For more on the 24, let's check in with Vince Welch.
Well, and remember, Casey Mears ran 5th at Atlanta in this car, and you see the guys looking on from his pits, the 36th Infantry Lone Star Division of the National Guard. Casey Mears carrying their colors today here at the racetrack, the Lone Star Division, nearly 12,000 soldiers, roughly 2/3 of the Texas National Guard, and they are happy to be here rooting on the race leader, and Casey Mears proud to be carrying their colors today. Mears says the car is good, 40 laps on these tires, and it's still handling well. His crew chief, Chad Walter, told him, "You're pulling the 20 from the center off," and Mears responded, "How many laps left in this race?"
Yeah, he wants to know how many laps he's got to do that, because Denny Hamlin's not going anywhere. He's right there at the mirror. Every time he looks in it, there's the 20.
Well, the other thing we got to remember is that there were all those cars that stayed out, and they're a little bit ahead of this group, still on the tail end of the lead lap. Guys like Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, and Kurt Busch, they're 23 seconds behind the race leader right now, and they need that yellow.
Yeah, they're going to have a caution. And, you know, the thing about being in that position at this racetrack, we've seen there's not a lot of yellow flags. This is a wide racetrack, and, you know, you have a lot of banking in the corner, so it's not like you just get totally loose racing by yourself. So something has to happen for them to get back into this race.
Well, to give you an idea, right now we would be tied for the fewest cautions ever, and that would have been in November of last year at 4, the most, 10 in 2003.
Okay, it's not likely that we'll go all the way to the finish without a caution, but there was about 75 laps to go, I think, when we got to the green last time. So there's somebody that's probably going to get good enough gas mileage to maybe even roll the dice and try that.
It'll be interesting. You know, you got people, and we haven't talked about Mike Wallace all day, but there he sits in 7th place right now. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in 8th. Are those guys in a position that they could do something like that and make this a very interesting finish to a great day?
Speaking of Mike Wallace, the guys found him on camera. Good job, guys. And there you see Mike's numbers as he was as low as 33rd and right now running in 7th. Let's get more on Mike Wallace from Mike Massaro.
And as you can imagine, Marty, Mike Wallace very content today. Quiet on the radio. The team has told me they've experienced very few problems all day. Let's not overlook one critical element. A brand new crew chief with Mike Wallace today. Mark Reno taking over for Fred Wanke. And it seems like there's some instant chemistry there for Mike Wallace.
Well, you got Mark Reno there, and he's been the team manager over there at Phoenix Racing for quite a few years, and he's very capable of being a crew chief, and he just took over this job, and he has got a lot of expertise in setting these cars up. And it looks like you said, it's made a big difference.
Well, through 156 laps, we've had 7 different leaders, 9 different lead changes. As you saw Casey Kane peel off and head down pit lane. Right there, you see the battle between David Reagan and Juan Pablo Montoya. Montoya won on the streets of Mexico City. And Alan, what's the latest on the 9 car? He's in the pits.
This is a little strategy play by the Evernham Motorsports team. We used the phrase short pitting earlier in the race. We'll let Andy describe what that means. They are short pitting this 9. They're inside their window to make it to the finish on fuel. They're hoping that they can pit, get back on the racetrack, and then have some others maybe catch a bad break later with their fuel run. And the extra speed on tires that they'll get now with this 9 car might help them make up some of the lost ground they had earlier.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alan. By short pitting, they mean they pit before their fuel tank runs out, and they get new tires on the car and go out there and make some really fast laps and try to make up time on the racetrack for the times when these other guys behind them pit. So that's the strategy. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you get caught in the pits or get caught a lap down doing it, but it's a gamble we're taking a lot of times.
And the truth is, guys, they didn't have anything to lose because they were not up front and in contention. So we'll see if it plays out. Right now, the man who is up front is right there. Casey Mears won his first ever race at the age of 15 in the old Mickey Thompson Stadium Series. The only reason I can remember that was because I did that race, and I said, this kid doesn't even have a driver's license yet. And since then, he's gone on to quite a few things, including a Nextel Cup action, and here he's out in front for the first time here in 2007 in the NASCAR Busch Series. We're going to step aside. We've got 41 laps to go. Who's going to take home the 6 guns? Fans have right now.
Not me. Tighten it up. I love it.
So we are under our 5th caution. Just as we went to the break, there was debris reported down between turns 1 and 2, which was the kiss of death for Casey Kane because he got hung out. So that strategy went for naught. Right now, we're getting ready for the last round of pit stops. Here comes your race leader, Casey Mears, followed by Denny Hamlin and just about everybody else that's on the lead lap, all 15 cars. For the 5 cars pit stop, let's check in with Mike Massaro.
And Marty, this was the caution that Kyle Busch desperately needed. He got caught on the tail end of the lead lap. He radioed in to Alan Gustafson asking him, how many laps are left? Alan said 39. He said, how many did I just run? He said 36. Emphatically, Kyle Busch said, free me up. Alan.
Break for Kurt Busch also, one of the tail end cars. He comes around, bottom left of the frame, rejoins the lead group. Going to add some tape to the nose of that car to try and help the front grip. Vince.
Very smooth stop for Casey Mears. 4 tires and a can and a splash of fuel, and they executed it perfectly. Dave Burns?
And the reason that the 20 car of Denny Hamlin was a little bit slow coming off of pit road was because they put a piece of tape on the front of that car. Denny said earlier, when I had some debris on the front of the car, that's when it ran the best. Put a piece of tape on there that acts just like that debris, and I think you'll help my race car. They did that, took on 4 tires as well.
I'll tell you what helped Juan Montoya. He has moved in front, picked up 3 positions because, guys, the word from pit lane is he only took 2 tires. Will this strategy work? We have 38 laps remaining. Montoya has won on the streets of Mexico, but he has not yet won on an oval, and that's one of his goals. So Juan Pablo Montoya is in front here at Texas. Come on back and find out if he can pick up his first win on the oval.
We got this one out of the way now, and the next one we need to win in an oval. I want to win in an oval. That's where we need to be good.
Of course, that was his win interview at Mexico, but since we went to break, as he has got a problem with a lug nut that came off, was not on the car, so the 2-tire strategy failed. They had to come back in. They did put the other left side tires on, so he's got 4 fresh Goodyears, but the problem is he is much further back in this field as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing with 36 laps to go as the pace car comes down. And in front, it is Denny Hamlin, followed by Casey Mears, David Reagan, and they're showing Juan Montoya in 4th, but we'll have to wait to see where that officially shakes out as we're back to green here at Texas. Whoa, wow. Look out, the 5 car almost lost it.
Yeah, he's lucky he didn't hit the wall right there.
3 wide, you got the top. 7 got you. 2 wide, 3 wide. 2 wide right here.
Yeah, you know he's going to be giving everything that he's got right now, just trying to go. He knows he doesn't have a lot of time. The 20 car, who's been the 1 car to challenge him all day, was out front and got clean air. So he's having to do everything he can to get up there.
When you got a fast car like that, you really want to try to capitalize on it right off the bat while you got everybody piled up in one. If he could have made that move work, he could have passed about 4 or 5 cars in just 1 corner. So that's...
We've got a crash. Juan Montoya has hit the wall. He's brushed it on the right side.
Keep digging there.
Question is, how much damage did he do?
Keep digging, still green.
Oh, he's fighting the wheel.
Yeah, he's been tempting that all day up there. I mean, you can get up there and you can make it work a lot of times, but you're just tempting it every time, and then you just catch it the wrong time, then you're going to be into the wall, and that's unfortunate for them. They had a great strategy. It was going to be fun to see what worked out, but unfortunately they didn't get a lug nut on in that pit stop.
Yeah, and it pushed him back to 15th when they officially came back across the stripe, and right now it's going to get worse. So let's take another look.
Yeah, entering high here, and you're going to see right here is where the bump normally is right there, and he hit that, and you just lose a little bit of traction with the front tires. Colbine in these race cars, all it takes is just a little bit of a bump, and you lose traction with those tires, and that's what happened. He tried to stay in the gas.
Yeah, we talk about this Colbine setup all the time, Dale, and you're right. It does. It's running those springs where they're completely collapsed in the front, so you get the front of the car down low, but it does make for a harsh ride, and when you like I say, bumpy racetrack does aggravate that.
Yeah. Now he's on pit road, and it was unfortunate. It was a great strategy they had planned out that with Brad Parrott, who does a great job in these Busch races. He's a great crew chief and has done a great job.
And there's a report of debris. Yeah, report of debris on the front stretch. So we're going to have our 6th caution of the day come out here with 31 laps to go. And you're right, a very good, strong run has really gone south for the 42 team.
Yeah, it was just looking so good for him, and then all of a sudden, in just a few laps, it's kind of over for him.
Yeah, I know there's probably a lot of Cup crew chiefs that are watching this race today, and they were going to be interested to see how that 2-tire strategy worked. That's a lot of the reasons that we watch these races and pay attention is to see things like that.
Well, as we head to break, we'll let you ride on board with Juan Pablo Montoya as you'll get to hear exactly what he heard as he went high, too high, and hit the wall. Stay with us.
West Coast ain't no fun. I got a feeling like my time ain't long. I'm gonna have me some fun.
We are having some fun in Texas. We've got 29 laps to go. There's our in-race reporter, Mark Martin. Let's talk to him.
Mark Martin, Dale Jarrett, do you have a copy?
that, BJ?
Sitting in 8th right now, a little less than 30 to go. Do you have anything for those guys up front?
I got, for some of them, yes. For some, probably not. We're making our way back up here from getting trapped on that green flag stop. So, we're better than some of those guys, and we're fixing to get after them here.
Okay, good luck. We'll be watching.
And we're waiting to see if the pace lights will go out on the pace car this time. And yes, they will. There will be 1 lap to go. And Dave Burns, Denny Hamlin still out in front. What's the latest from his pit?
Well, there might be a couple of reasons why he stays out in front and perhaps wins this race. We described it on the pit stop. Here's a replay of what happened when front tire carrier Mikey Drake placed that piece of tape right there on the grill to help keep that car loosened up enough for Denny. That was during that run, Denny had said that's the tightest the car's been all day. Mikey went over the wall, placed the tire on the right front, placed the tire on the left front, and before he left, was able to place that tape on there. And then, DJ, during the break, I heard you talking about, the 20 did beat the 24 off of pit road, and that may have won him this race. He did. He got right on it, DJ, and he didn't speed off pit road, but he did beat the 24.
Yeah, they did a great job there. Denny did a great job of not spinning the tire. So many times you're in that position and you see that car coming by you on the outside. You want to really get to the gas and spin the tires, but Denny did a great job of not doing that, didn't speed, and was able to make that pass and beat the 24 off of pit road, and that very well could win him the race.
Our viewers just saw that little piece of tape. I mean, it's no more than 2 inches by 2 inches. And I'm sure some of them are saying, Andy, how in the heck can that make all that much difference?
Well, they did just get a small piece on there, but anytime you put tape on that grill, it does put more downforce on the front wheels and helps the car turn, makes the car run faster through the middle of the corner, just like we saw Tim Brewer explaining to us earlier.
All right, we're about to go back to green flag racing here at Texas as we go full throttle.
Good restart. You start the race. You're ready. You're ready. You're ready. You're ready. Green flag. Green clear all around. So you're clear. Clear, clear, clear. Good start, buddy. Go get him. Like the one on the bottom here. Clear high, clear high.
That's the view from David Gilliland. He is well back at 28th spot, but Denny Hamlin, Casey Mears, and now Carl Edwards running 1, 2, and 3. And keep an eye out. Look out, there is Kyle Busch trying to cut his way through. He is 7th. Got is David Rudiman in 6th right in front of him. And brother Kurt Busch is hot on brother Kyle's tail.
Yeah, Kyle's trying to make that move in turns 1 and 2 on the restart again. Did have it made, but he was on the inside of David Rudiman, who's done a terrific job today. Once he got that water bag out of his way, he's running the top 10 most of the day. But Kyle got trapped right behind a lap car there, and that slowed his momentum.
Great battle for 3rd. That is Carl Edwards going around Matt Kenseth. And you're saying, wait a minute, Kenseth, how in the heck did he get back up there? Remember, he had that spin, guys.
Wow, good save by Carl Edwards, who we saw right there coming off of turn 2. Had it a lot sideways.
Looked like he got maybe a love tap from his teammate, Matt Kenseth. We got some crazy racing all over the racetrack.
There was the return.
Might be a little bit of a payback right there. These guys are so good, though. You know, they can do that and not crash. I'll tell you, that's hard to do, Edendale.
Yeah, it really is, because, again, you've got these cars on a restart. They're pretty loose, and it doesn't take much. And, it may not have been a tap at either one, but just the air will do that, as we showed earlier on, just how much that can affect you. But I would look, Matt Kenseth looks really strong right now, and it's going to be interesting to see if he can get to the front.
Mike Massaro, when he had that tire go away, we thought his day was over. What's going on in that pit?
And those tire problems could persist throughout the afternoon. There was another set of tires that were taken off the 17 car later, just 1 lap short of a full fuel run, and it was just beginning to show some cords. Now, the tire that went down earlier was on the same rim, on, of course, the right rear, and that tire we were unable to show you because they whisked it away so quickly, had 2 cuts in it. One small one which generated a slow leak, which in turn turned into a very big blowout about the size of, say, a CD or a DVD, if you will, a big hole in the tire that big. So Matt Kenseth and that team still pretty concerned about their tire work.
Well, just in case you are tuning in and you don't know what we're talking about, let's take you back in that moment in the race. It brought out one of our 6 cautions, and Andy, this was a great job of keeping it off the wall.
Yeah, he's so lucky not to hit the wall, and you see the other tires blowing out after he spins. And the one thing that Matt's got on his side right now is this run to the end of the race is not as long as he ran in that run right there. So hopefully he won't have that same problem in this last run, and he can just run the car as hard as he can to the finish. It looks like he's doing just that.
Yeah, and we talk about the right rear tire being the one that shows you how loose he's running this race car. If he's wearing that tire, it's wearing it for a reason, and that's because he's hard on that right rear tire. He's got it hung out a lot, and he's up near Casey Mears right now.
One thing I've seen that 17 car do is work the top side of the racetrack. We see him right here enter the corner fairly high, and he's using that upper lane and getting that momentum. And sometimes when you do that, you're running just outside where the rubber is, and that can wear on that tire just a little bit more too.
Trouble again for Juan Montoya. He has turned it into the wall. And we will have our 7th caution coming out here with 20 laps to go. And
just
that car
about didn't get any worse. Yeah. It does.
10 laps ago, that car really looked pristine.
Yeah, they were sitting in the lead. They just made a 2-tire stop, and they were leading the race and going to see exactly what was going to happen. And just shows you how fickle this business is.
It can hurt you sometimes, I'll tell you. It's cruel.
So there is the Ganassi team as they'll pack it up and head on down the highway. And the first oval win will have to wait for another day. We'll step aside for just a moment. As we said, we've got 20 laps to go under our 7th caution here with Denny Hamlin, Casey Mears, Matt Kenseth. That's the top 3. Back here at Texas, you saw what we saw for the first time when we went to break. It was really Marcus Ambrose there in the 59 that got into Montoya, guys.
Yeah, it looked like these 2 rookies that were kind of what Schrader calls arguing over space, and it really took out both of them right here.
Yeah, top 2 rookie contenders, and that's just as we explained earlier. Guy on the inside has a lot of responsibility there not to use up too much of that space, because it's easy. Your car flattens out right here, as the track does, and it's easy to lose some grip.
And it is kind of up to the inside guy, because the outside guy didn't know where to go. He went to the wall there.
And that's the part that we initially saw where he was turning into the wall. And, you know, you mentioned the fact there's Marcus Ambrose's car being pushed back behind the wall. These are the 2 top Rookie of the Year contenders. And right now, it's Ambrose into today's race, leading by just 4 points over Juan Pablo Montoya. And we'll have to wait to see how the new point standings come out after this race is completed.
Yeah, we saw the 06 of Mark Martin make a pit stop under this caution, and I guess he was going backwards and decided to come in and get tires and kind of change his fate maybe.
Yeah, it's always nicer to be going forward at the end of the race than it is getting past. You can sleep a lot better before the race tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd much rather be on offense than on defense.
That's right.
All right, we're still under our 7th caution here. We've got 17 laps to go, and this race is far from being decided. Stay with us.
The thing I probably like about Texas the most is there's a lot of speed there.
Texas is a really fast place, always has been.
The groove has moved up and enabled you to run around the bottom and around the top.
Mainly the Busch cars stick to running the low groove though, just because of the momentum through the corners, the shorter way around, not as much horsepower.
You know, we can race side by side. It's more fun to try and pass the guy. I really enjoy the racetrack.
Well, we're enjoying our day here at Texas Motor Speedway. You see the sun trying to pop out as we're just about ready to go back to green flag racing. Let's check in quickly with Alan Bestwick.
With the 2 drivers involved in the last incident, Juan Pablo Montoya and Marcus Ambrose. I'll start with you, Marcus. You came by Juan Pablo's trailer. What did you say?
I just want to say sorry. You know, we were wounded out there. We had a broken front left shock, and I was just trying to, bring it home as best we could. We were racing for position, but, I lost all the front downforce, front grip there, and just slid up into Yuan. So, I'll take the blame for it. Feel bad for Yuan. He was trying to finish too, but that's the way it goes.
Thank you, Marcus. And Juan Pablo, you had a good race going that kind of unraveled all in a hurry. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of screw up. I put, when they were finishing the right rear, and as soon as they started dropping it, I just let the clutch drop, and I think they missed one of the nuts, so we had to come back in. Then, we put in another 2 tires, and it's just, when you're trying to make up ground, it's really hard. The car was pretty loose to start with. I went outside the 37, I think it was Biffle, and he came on me a little bit, so I had to turn off. When I turned back in, I got too loose, to went straight to the wall, so that was that.
and it kept unraveling from there. Thanks for the time, Juan Pablo.
All right, we've got 15 laps to go. The pace car will be pulling down momentarily. Crank on the full steam ahead because it's about time to go full throttle once again.
You start the race. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Green flag. Clear all around. Clear all around. Clear all around.
Take a look. There's Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth. And they split David Stremme.
Clear, too wide. Still out there.
It's shut time. It's time to go. He didn't have time to wait on that lap car. These two guys are duking it out. They know they don't have to do just a few laps to get it done.
Yeah, I don't know if Matt spun the tires or what. He didn't get a really good start there and allowed Carl to get alongside him going down the backstretch.
Well, Matt Kenseth's been trying to work that top groove, and it doesn't work really good right off the restart. It takes him a lap or two to get it wound up there.
Yeah, but even racing side by side, they've run the 2 leaders back down.
Yeah, these two Roush teammates are really fast.
All right, let's set it for you. It's Denny Hamlin in front in the 20. Then you've got the 24 of Mears. Then you've got Edwards and, of course, Kenseth right there, your top 4.
Yeah, let's go back to 5th and talk about David Reagan for a second, who's done just a terrific job. Started from the pole and has done exactly what he and his crew talked about today. Got experience, and he's run a lot of laps, and I'm sure that's only going to help him tomorrow.
Dave Burns, you've got more on the 6 car?
And he's been running very well. Just talk with his crew chief, Mike Kelly, how he's gotten the car. That drive off the corners has improved dramatically, and he's got that pole-sitting car in the top 5 and good to drive.
Take a look. The battle for second now. Here comes Kenseth and Edwards around the 24 of Casey Mears.
It's heating up front. We've only got 11 laps to go, and we see Matt Kenseth running that top side. I can't say that enough. I'll tell you, that's going to be a real advantage for him. He's really working. He's been committed to it, and he's going to try to make it work.
Yeah, and Denny Hamlin's committed to the bottom. Has been there all day. When he was working his way back through the field, that's where he was passing everybody that he came to. So this is going to get very interesting towards the end.
You see all these Roush cars coming right to the front at the end of the race. And we heard crew chief of the 6th car of David Reagan say you got to be there at the finish to have a chance to win. And he's there. He's in position. This is the kind of position you want to be in to have a chance to win.
Yeah, you're in 5th. Anything can happen from this point. You know, it doesn't even take an accident. Just these guys get to racing side by side, and you can find yourself in a battle for the lead.
Denny Hamlin still out in front with 9 laps remaining. His margin just 0.3 of a second, and boy, Kenseth has got the high groove working.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth beat Denny Hamlin by 100th of a second right there. Here we go.
And you see that momentum just take him right by the 20 car. Looks like maybe the 20 had to get out of the gas a little bit. And he had that big, what I call Billy Goat run off that turn, too.
Wait a minute. What in the heck is a Billy Goat run?
You just saw it right there. Matt Kenseth just did it.
All right, Matt Kenseth, after spinning, after having a tire get cut down on him, he is back in front of this race, and he's pulling away.
You know, early in this race, I think Alan Bestwick pointed out that Matt Kenseth wasn't very happy with his car or something, and I was going to make the point that he may be playing a little coy there, that Matt Kenseth was going to be the guy that you had to be. I would have looked really smart if I could have got that out at that time, but we had a caution to come up, so I didn't get that out. So it's easy for me to say now, but he's done a terrific job coming back from all the adversity.
Carl Edwards gets around Casey Mears and then had a gesture of some kind out the left front. I don't know exactly what he was signaling.
Well, sometimes, Dale, don't these drivers just kind of signal them, hey, you gave me a little room, I appreciate it. I don't think that was anything other than that.
Yeah, I don't think that it was either, and Carl is like that. When you're racing around him, he appreciates any help that you can give, and he does the same thing for you if you're the one making the pass on him.
Casey's saying, the heck with the gesture, let me go back around you.
Yeah, and Casey, you can see him really driving his car really hard coming off the corner there, almost got into the wall, and yeah, it looks like the handling's just gone away. You know, we had some sun to come out here, and it's probably changed this racetrack just a little bit, and that looks like that it's played into Matt Kenseth right into his hand.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, we've only got 6 laps to go, and Denny Hamlin is not letting Matt Kenseth get very far ahead.
No, here he comes back on the inside right now.
Here we go. This time by, it'll be 5 laps remaining here at Texas. Kenseth still in front.
Clear low, 5 laps to go.
You know you're seeing all these 2 cars have right now.
Yeah, and two very talented drivers, and it's going to be interesting to see just how much room Matt might give him, because the high line has been what's been working for him, but is he going to open that up and give Denny that bottom group?
Guys, we were listening in on Denny Hamlin's radio. Here's what we heard about him in the corners.
It's a little loose with him on my bus. Man, they're killing us on the straightaways. We're murdering them in corners.
So there's Denny and his team on the communications, but right now, both of them, as you can see, all you have to do is log on to ESPN.com, your search word, communications.
See that 17 car wiggle just a little bit off the corner, but he didn't have to get out of the throttle.
Yeah, the 20 car was right on his bumper there, so he was taking a little bit of that air. So Matt's not going to do that this time. He's going to stay up where he can get that run and utilize that power down the straightaway.
Yeah, that upper groove is going to be a big advantage for him, I think, coming here. He's got 3 laps to go.
It seems to work a little bit better down in 3 and 4 for him than it does in 1 and 2, though.
You heard the spotter. 3 laps to go.
He got a good run through the corner there, and he's put just a little bit of distance, and now we'll see if he goes back to the top side here in 3 and 4. And I think that's what, well, he's kind of in the middle, but you see the car wiggle a little bit as he got down into the corner, but he was able to get back to the throttle.
Yeah, he's kind of hedging his bet a little bit. He'd love to just get down there and block that 20 car, but he knows that upper groove's his best groove.
Kenseth has been so good at Texas. 9 top 10s in 11 races at this track. He won in the 2004 race, finished 5th here last April, and he is going to be 1 lap away from picking up another win here at Texas.
You think this Busch race doesn't mean a lot to him? He's driving the wheels off of that thing right now. I mean, he's doing everything he can possibly do, using up all the racetrack to try to keep Denny Hamlin behind him.
Low, clear low, white flag, clear white flag.
But Spotter's not excited. I sure as heck am.
Well, Bob Jeffries never got very excited, but he's always done a great job, and this is going to be interesting right here. It'll be interesting to see as we get down to turn 3 and 4 with Matt go high and give Denny that bottom groove.
And does Denny Hamlin have anything left for this last lap?
Down the backstretch for the final time into turn 3. Hamlin's going to go low. Can he hold it down there? Kenseth, who's loving that high line. He won at Fontana, doubled up the next day. He's going to do it again. He takes the win here at Texas after spinning early in the race.
Wow, what a great job by that crew and by Matt Kenseth. That's incredible. As many good race cars as he had to pass and come back to win this race.
Good job, you guys. Woo! That baby hung on to the last 15. Great job, you guys. Good recovery.
Yeah, that baby was hung out there.
23rd career Busch Series win. 6th place on the all-time list. As there is your
that
winner.
baby hung on the last 2 laps off the corner, right, Bob?
Oh, that's awesome.
Let's check in with Alan.
And a smiling crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer. When he spun out earlier in the race, Drew, how long did it take you looking at that car to figure out, well, maybe we're not out of this?
We're never out of it with Matt Kenseth. Roush Yates Power and Jack Roush and Roush Fenway behind us. You're never out of it. We just had to get our lucky dog back. We tried some air pressure things for tomorrow to help his Cup car when we thought we might not have a shot to win it. And when we got lucky there, we came out 6th after that caution, put some guys on tail in the lead lap. We knew we might have a shot to win it. We put our air pressure back, and he took off.
He took off, he did, and you're taking off to victory lane. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I think we're going to burn up some good years here, right at the start-finish line. The 3rd two-time winner here in the Busch Series this year, Jeff Burton, Carl Edwards, and now Matt Kenseth. And we'll talk to him if we can clear the smoke here in Texas.
Welcome back to the NASCAR Busch Series at Texas, presented by Star Motorcycles. Races in the books. You can see the smoke of the 17 filtering into the crowd. 17 is your winner. The 23rd Busch win. That puts him 6th all-time. Congratulations to Matt Kenseth. Now let's go to Dave Burns, who's with the driver of the 20, finishing 2nd. That would be Denny Hamlin.
And Eric, he led a lot of laps today, did not win the race, but ran a strong race. But the first thing across your radio after the checkers was an apology. What were you saying sorry for?
Just giving one away, I tell you. We were fast out front, but it was on the edge, and it finally caught up to us, and it just got loose there and opened up the door for Matt. And Arrow is so much here. As soon as he got out front, I just couldn't do anything with him. I could get under him, but he would get the big runs off. So. Gave one away to my crew. They deserve to win, and hopefully I'm going to get one for them here later in the season.
It's now been 28 races since Denny's won in the Busch Series. He'll try to work on that the next week. to victory lane and Mike Massaro.
And Matt Kenseth now climbing from the car, victorious for the second time this year. Same car he won with in California, the same result here in Texas. Before the race, you told me you weren't that confident. Why?
We weren't really great on Thursday. Really, Drew Bickendorfer and these guys done a great job. We had great pit stops, and we were able to come back from spinning out and blowing that right rear and win. So things fell our way with that one green flag cycle where we got in there. But it's awesome to get the Arby's car victory lane. That means free fries on Monday for everybody at Arby's. That's pretty cool, too.
One heck of a rally. What were your thoughts early in the race when you spun this thing out and had some tire problems?
Well, my first thought was I hope I don't hit anything. So I've heard I heard something break. I guess it was right rear tire blowing out, getting into one, and I was able to, off past dumb things that I've done, I was able to figure out how to not hit the wall. A lot of it was luck, but I was able to do that. So that was good. We got back and lost a lap, but main thing is we were fixed the car, and it was still fast afterwards.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Matt Kenseth picks up his second career win here at the Texas Motor Speedway. The first came back in 2004. Eric?
Thanks, Mike. Here are your point standings. Busch style. You see Carl Edwards still maintains the lead. Dave Blaney in second. Kevin Harvick rounds out the top three. And I'll tell you, you really start to look at some of the names moving up the charts. You have to wonder, will anybody ultimately catch Carl Edwards? David Ruderman, by the way, Toyota, two of the David Ruderman, Dave Blaney, that's two of the top five are both Toyotas. We will keep it rolling from the Texas Motor Speedway, but Matt Kenseth, your winner, races in the books.
The NASCAR Busch Series at Texas is presented by Star Motorcycles. We build it, you make it your own. And in part by Aaron's. With over 1,400 stores nationwide, everyone is a lucky dog at Aaron's. And Can-Am, the ultimate ride. Well, Matt Kenseth is the winner. Third place is Carl Edwards. In 8 Busch races this year, he's had 7 top 5s and 1 6th. Vince Welch, you've caught up with him.
Well, Carl was just saying that he had a good view of Denny and Matt battling it out, and you think maybe there was going to be a little something, a little contact there? You were going to be sitting in the catbird seat?
Well, part of me was hoping Denny would hit him and they'd slow up a little bit and I could get by him, but that's cool to see Matt that happy. He deserves to win that race. He drove really well, did a good job. I just got to thank Scott's, Bonus S Max, Office Depot, Coca-Cola, Back 40 Records, all my sponsors. Just really, really excited to be here and have such a great race.
At what spot did you think that you maybe made an adjustment you shouldn't have made?
Yeah, it's a good question. That last stop, probably beat myself up over tightening the car up a little bit. It was so fast to run before, but you never know. You never know what it's going to do. And as it turned out, we had a great race, extended our point lead a little bit. But man, I wanted to win that thing. Matt's just such a great guy. Congratulations to them.
Carl Edwards, third place today. Alan Bestwick.
With fourth place, Casey Mears. Casey, pleased or disappointed with fourth?
Well, disappointed. I mean, we could have definitely had an opportunity to win that race. A little bit too loose there at the end. I didn't really understand exactly how it all played out on that pit stop. I never even really saw him out of the corner of my eye, so it was kind of weird that he beat me out. But I'm sure the TV cameras. So that was unfortunate. I'm just happy to have the 36th on the hood this weekend, Lone Star Division, trying to hold the National Guard name up proud this weekend. And these guys have been doing a great job. Every time we go out, we got a top 5 finish and running right in the hunt. So a little bit more work and we'll win one of these races.
Fourth place today for Casey Mears.
And I'll round out the top 5 with David Reagan in a very fine run from our pole sitter. As you see the photos getting ready to be taken, there's Jack Roush, a spiffy Texas-style hat on Jack. That looks good on him. Stay with us. We've still got more.
Las Vegas, the excitement capital of the world and the famous Strip. Well, the NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series has its own strip for the SummitRacing.com Nationals. Team Force has returned from its self-imposed hiatus, but not without some self-examination and some reservations. We'll have that story, but there's also plenty of action from the Strip at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Back at Texas Motor Speedway, where today's winner was a Roush Fenway car, Matt Kenseth. His teammate, David Reagan, the best finish of his Busch Series career in his 15th start. He finished his 5th. David, how big of a step is this for you in your racing career, doing double duty at tracks like this?
Well, certainly it's going to help some for tomorrow in the AAA car, but man, just what a good points day. We struggled last week and had an unfortunate event that cost us some points, but a strong finish. We'll take a 5th for the Discount Tire team, and you know, we're just happy to get out here in one piece. That's probably one of our best downforce cars, so we'll try to save that baby and improve on that next time.
Started on the pole today, finished 5th, and Marty, I guess Jack Roush made a good decision for this young driver.
Yes, he did. In fact, 3 Roush cars in the top 5, as there is Jack. Changed hats as they're doing the hat dance down in Victory Lane. Let's bring in Dale Jarrett and, of course, Andy Petrie. What'd you think of your first experience with us here?
I had a great time. Thanks for allowing me to be here and making my job a lot easier with you two professionals. But, you know, I race against these guys, and I know how good they are. But you get up here and you watch some of the things they do, then you have an even better and bigger appreciation for just how good these guys are. So a lot of fun, a great race, and glad I could be a part of it.
Well, your debut was solid, you were strong, and a lot of fun to be with. Let's move ahead to next week because we head for Phoenix.
Yeah, we're going to do a little night racing out in Phoenix next week. And I'll tell you what, if it heats up like it did here today, we're going to have a great race out there, too. This was an outstanding event here, and I can't wait to get back in the booth at Phoenix and do it again.
Who does that race favor with being at night? I mean, who would you pick going in right now?
Boy, it's hard to say, but I tell you what, Kyle Busch ran such a good race today, and he still has come up without a win in the Busch Series. So you got to figure he's going to get one sooner or later, and Phoenix might be a great place for him to do it.
Did you ever have a drought like that where you were driving real well and nothing seemed to just work out at the end?
Yeah, you go through those times, and you know, if you stay around this business long enough, you realize all these things are going to even out, and he continues to do that. He's been very impressive all year long, and all of a sudden everything's going to break through, and he's going to be winning Saturday and Sunday for a lot of times.
Well, don't forget the action continues next week with the NASCAR Busch Series at Phoenix, April 20th at 9 Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN2 HD. Coming up next, SummitRacing.com NHRA Nationals. It's qualifying from Las Vegas, Nevada. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Congratulations once again to our winner, Matt Kenseth. I'm Marty Reid for our entire ESPN2 crew. Till we meet again.